What's going on? I am Nando.
And I'm DJ.
And hello, my name is Diggins.
And this is Mostly Nitpicking, a podcast where every week we pick apart a piece of pop culture by looking exclusively at the details.
Woohoo!
This week, we're on the trail, hot on the trail of that. Hot, young, and old, depending on the part of the thing you're watching. Adventurer, Indiana, Henry, what is his name? It's just Henry Jones Jr.?
Yeah, Henry Indiana Jones Jr.
Yeah.
Indiana in quotes to indicate that it's a nickname.
That's right. Henrietta Jones Jr. is on, he's not on the podcast, but we're going to be talking about him. We are, like I said, on his trail. It's a hot new movie. Next week is Indiana Jones and the, what is it?
Dial of Destiny.
Dial of Destiny, right. This is the Destiny themed one. Yeah. So that's, I'm just talking about that.
Space guns.
Yeah.
It's all about space guns.
What class would Indiana Jones be?
A warlock, because they're like the smartest. They study the most. They're very learned. But they're also good in the fight.
Completely incorrect.
Yeah.
Warlocks. Destiny. Sorry, I was thinking D&D. You're right.
I thought you were about to school me in Destiny, Diggins, and I was about to throw down. I was about to, let's have a Destiny off between me and Diggins.
I don't know a goddamn thing about Destiny.
I don't want to fully, disagree with you, because I agree. He's a professor, and he seems to be smart-ish, but also,
yeah.
I feel like he is a character who solves his problems with a whip or a gun if it's an option. I think he could be like a Titan if he I feel like he has those tendencies of just fuck it, let's shoot our way out of here.
See, I thought you were gonna go Hunter because it's more of this he's not like a big brute but kind of like cunning, right? There's that angle you can take with it with like a hunter.
I thought about that, but I don't think he is that. I think he is clever, but I don't think he's that kind of character either. He could be. A character like this could definitely be the sneaks around and, uses his wits. But that's the thing. I do think Indiana Jones, for all his intelligence, he can figure out what a magnet is. But by the time he gets to the magnet, instead of a scheme, it's just punch, 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 and hopefully that works out. And usually does. Almost always.
It hasn't gotten him yet. I mean, we'll see this weekend with this whole dial.
We will
what
see.
happens to Indy.
Before that, you guys, news this week. We were looking at this before because we were there's not a ton of news. I mean, there's a lot of news. And, it's all the streaming companies and the computer companies are bad. Spider-Verse is bad and it's never coming out. They're mean to the Spider-Verse people. Disney's using AI for their Secret Invasion credits. It's just a bunch of bullshit like that. But
David Zaslav has not yet finished destroying Warner.
Yep.
So
and
now he's turned to Turner, classic movies.
And it's caught Paramount Plus caught the Zaslav disease, and now they're shelving pre-made stuff and deleting other stuff from the Paramount Plus platform, which wouldn't be a problem except it's Star Trek, the one thing people care about on Paramount Plus. So that's a problem. I guess there's Yellowstone, but our dad's people, I don't know. DJ, you're as the dad representative.
Yeah, that's me. Hello.
That's the thing. Have you watched Yellowstone yet, DJ?
Nope.
Do you get it sent to you?
I don't know.
You leave the hospital with the baby and, some diapers or whatever they give you at the hospital and the first season of Yellowstone. Just figure this out.
They give you the first season of Yellowstone and a pair of New Balances.
Wow, and actually, now this sounds pretty good. I want to get get involved.
It's funny. For whatever reason, that part of the dad whatever hasn't hit me yet. I will say I have a lot more patience for just sitting down and watching an entire game of baseball, or at least having it on in the background. I feel so much closer to baseball after being a dad. And I wear a tool belt with confidence. I put that tool belt on and be like, I'm a man and I'm a dad. I know what to do here.
What about the New Balances? You wearing those yet?
Upon occasion, I haven't totally shelved the Asics yet. I'm a big Asics guy, but I feel like those New Balances are, just around the corner.
You guys, they're trendy and cool. I don't know. No one's watched the commercials but me, apparently, but they are the trendy, cool shoe for kids. It used to be Nike. Ben Affleck made it Nike, but now there's a Ben Affleck at New Balance that's bringing it back. Made a big bet on me and all the dads, and we're going to be the Michael Jordan of Nike back in the day.
What would that movie be called? The New Balance movie. Just call it like
it would be some bullshit number, right? All their shoes are like the 57 A28s or something. And like,
right, but they called the Michael Jordan movie Air.
Right.
Because, like, the Air Jordans. Oh, I see what you're saying. Like, so it would be, like, 49 or whatever.
Yeah, but now you're right. Air, what would they call the New Balance one? Like,
it would be, like, ground.
White.
White.
The shoes are white, usually. Not the people. Well, the people are also white frequently. But, yeah, it's like, I feel like there's nothing fancy or special about New Balances. Like,
oh, like that's what you call it, like normal courting everyday Joes.
Plain shoe, please.
Guys, obviously you call it Dad.
You could call it Dad, yeah.
Would you go to a movie called Dad?
Depends
what movie you're going to see this weekend? I'm going to see Dad.
I mean, we almost saw Father, Stu. So
that's true.
That's as close as we've gotten to Dad in the title of the movie recently.
That's a great point.
Yeah, but
we still might see Father Stu one day.
I mean, it's a humongous hit. There'll probably be a sequel, and it'll probably be somewhat of an event. I don't know.
If nothing else, the amount that we talk about it guarantees that someone is eventually going to force us to watch it.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I say? As long as Mel gets paid, that's all that matters. You know, there's the Continental only on Peacock this summer or whatever. That's all. It's all Mel all the time, baby.
And Marky Mark.
2004.
Marky Mark. He's also got to get.
That's true. Money. Marky Mark needs his money. But you guys, what's Mark up to today? You got anything new coming out?
So I'm gonna.
Where's he really
Mark
coasting
Wahlberg
off Father Stu? Like, just
hope he doesn't break into my house again.
I feel like we talked to him and we were like, "What do you got going on?" And it was like 50 projects that never seem like they'll actually be released. Directed DVD movies for China with Steven Seagal. And like,
oh no,
a sequel to something kind of popular, but that's not coming out for a while. Did he have a cameo in Elemental where he was the one just holding fire and water apart, just stopping them as much as he possibly could?
A cameo where a fire is walking in a water neighborhood, so he beats the shit out of it.
Yeah. I don't know. Any word, DJ, on what the...
There's a website called movieweb.com. Every upcoming Mark Wahlberg movie we're excited to see, and there's 2 movies. One is called Arthur the King, which is based on the story of Arthur, the dog who crossed the jungle to find a home. In this book, which is a true story, Lindor describes the experience of going through rural South America with a Swedish adventure racing team. But there's one complication. A stray dog joins the team after Lindor threw it a meatball. By the end of their time together, this dog, despite having been a stray that decided to tag along because it had nothing else to lose, managed to capture Lindor's heart, cementing a bond that could not be reversed.
This is the dog movie.
I'm thrilled for this. Sounds awesome.
No one has ever made a good dog movie. I'm going to put this down right now.
What about Air Bud?
Damn.
Yeah, that's true.
And then the other one is Our Man from Jersey.
Yeah, I remember this.
Wahlberg stars opposite Halle Berry. He will portray Mike, a construction worker who one day is roped into an espionage operation by a former girlfriend from high school.
I like how the spirit of Mark Wahlberg took over your mouth for a second to say that.
Wait, wow, a movie about an average Joe being roped into spy work by a romantic partner? That's crazy!
Incredible.
Who could ever think of such a thing?
And let me guess, this is going direct to any of the streaming networks. They're going to roll it, there's a big dial, and they're going to spin it, and it's going to pick one of them. There you go, you get Man from Jersey.
Can you guys guess the format which this will be released on? It's not like a theatrical release.
But it's not...
Putting it as guess the format is so interesting. It's going to be like a Quibi style TV show, quote unquote.
Yeah,
I didn't want to give it away.
Or something. So is it NFT? Is it another one of those NFT movies we love so much? All right.
Guess the streaming platform who will be hosting this lovely movie.
I'm gonna say Our Man from Jersey. I'm gonna say Max, just because I think maybe they're trying to hit that Sopranos money again, and they see a Jersey project and they're like, "That's for us, baby."
I like that guess. It's a good guess. Diggins.
I'm gonna go for maximum comedy and say Apple TV just did it again.
Sorry, boys. You'll have to have Netflix to watch this one. Netflix. It's gonna be on
I'm
Netflix.
not going to see it then. I do not have Netflix anymore.
Oh, you're going to miss out on Our Man from Jersey.
I am going to miss
Nando, why would you even pretend like we're not going to cover Our Man from Jersey when it comes out?
I know. That'll have to be the week that I, ask my mom to reset the Netflix geolocation or something so that I can use it for a day. It's gotten way too complicated.
Has that gotten to affect the Netflix sharing password thing? Oh, really?
I no longer have Netflix, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I know. I missed whatever the hot new thing was that nobody watched that got 1 million watches. I don't know what it was this week, but I missed that. Black Mirror, I guess, but I did end up seeing that.
Whatever was number one on the top 10.
Yeah, whatever actually broke their record and would have made $1 bazillion if it was in theaters. Would have been the highest grossing movie ever made. If only people had to pay to watch it. Speaking of that, Five Nights at Freddy's. I mean, we've already kind of done a bunch of news, but they made a trailer for that movie, Five Nights at Freddy's, you guys.
Yes, they did. Starring
Matthew Lillard, Josh Hutcherson, and Chantel Van Chanstein, or whatever her name is, from The Flash and Astronauts on the Moon with Guns show, whatever that show's called. What's that show called? It was the one on Apple TV Plus, For All Mankind.
The one that you like?
I do like that, yeah. I think it's gotten dumb. It started kind of dumb, but it got extra dumb. But it's been a while since I watched it. But yeah, how excited is everyone for Five Nights at Freddy's?
On a scale of 1 to 10, like a 3? 2?
Oh.
Even 1, perhaps?
Incredible. Also, I'm looking at it. It might not be that actress is not the one I think it is. The woman, apparently it's an actor named Elizabeth Lale. So, sorry, Chantel. If you got really excited, you're like, ooh, I'm in Five Nights at Freddy's. You're not. Unless it's a cameo.
Also, everyone knows that she's a listener.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she loves it when we talk about... That's why I keep talking about that movie, or that show, where the astronauts have guns on the moon and stuff. You know, and one of them is the Suicide Squad guy. Pretty cool. But yeah, this movie, Five Nights at Freddy's, it's got all the Freddys in them. I assume one of them's named Freddy, right?
Freddy Fazbear.
Nando.
There you go.
Please. It doesn't have all of the Freddys in it.
What?
Because there are like 5 Freddys.
Really?
Please don't make me expose myself live on stream by telling you how much I know about Five Nights at Freddy's lore.
Wait, don't expose yourself ever. Just keep that to yourself and go unexposed.
Wait, hold on. I'm confused now. I just assumed Freddy was the bear, the same way Chucky Charles, as his his government name.
Cheese.
Yeah, Charles Entertainment Cheese is the guy whose name is the restaurant. And there's only one of him. It'd be weird if the band was 5 Chuck E. Cheeses, unless we're doing multiverse Chuck E. Cheese now. Which,
oh no!
At this point, why not?
So you're correct that like the main guy is Freddy Fazbear, and he's like the guy. But also, because there's like 50 different Five Nights at Freddy's games, there are like a bunch of Freddy variants.
Oh, okay. Is he related to Michael Fassbender?
I think that did come up in one of the later games. Yes.
These are good now.
So as far as I could tell, it doesn't have all of the Freddys in it because there's like 7 different Freddys.
Do you think at the end of it, a portal's going to open and one of the Freddys is going to come through it and be like, let's go to the new universe or whatever?
Yep, I think that's going to be it.
Have they done that yet in these? Any multiverse stuff? Have they done any multiverse things in this?
I don't know.
Because this is kind of a supernatural franchise, right? Kind of, or something?
Is it? Are they magic or whatever?
What else could they be?
All right, hold on. I am on the Five Nights at Freddy's wiki, and I'm on the disambiguation page for Freddy. Here's all the Freddy characters in the core Five Nights at Freddy's series.
Oh, wow.
There's Freddy Fazbear. There's Toy Freddy. There's Withered Freddy. There's Shadow Freddy. Phantom Freddy. Nightmare Freddy. Funtime Freddy. Yendo. Molten Freddy. Rockstar Freddy, Lefty, Ned Bear, Helpy, Golden Freddy, Dark Freddy, Party Freddy, Dread Bear, Glamrock Freddy, The Blob, and Freddy Frostbear.
Wow.
Okay.
I think I want to hang out with The Blob. He sounds fun.
I want to hang out with I want to see what Dark Freddy's deal is. Is he a nice Freddy? Because all the Freddys are kind of dark, right? So is he opposite of the good Freddy or the bad Freddys? Or is he like the one who, you know, I don't even know what Freddy's do. They eat the kids or something? So does he eat the kids but not get the nutrition and just spit them out? Does it for fun? I don't know.
So they put the kids in animatronics, I think.
Like put them in with magic or like with a machine?
No, like physically they put them in and so the kids die.
Oh, okay.
Oh, ew. That's horrible.
Yeah. DJ was on board before when he thought it was just kids getting in little animatronic suits for fun.
Well, actually, they don't. I don't know that they kill kids because it's like a serial killer killed a bunch of kids, and like the ghost kids are in the animatronics now, and they just kill people. I don't know. There's a lot going on.
So I feel like Ghosts could be part of the multiverse. Then, if we're doing ghosts, it's all on the table.
I mean, Phantom Freddy is a ghost.
Yeah. So I think this will end up in the multiverse eventually. It's my prediction for Five Nights at Freddy's. Not the movie, but I think the games and then the movie will. I don't know. Do you think, as someone who seems to know stuff about this, is this movie relatively faithful?
I mean, I know about this the way I know about many things, which is I know enough to sound like an expert to people who aren't experts, but I don't actually know that much. It seems, I mean, kinda, the kid is like new, but it's basically the premise of the first game. Security guard goes to watch an old animatronic place, and animatronics come to life and try to eat him.
Now, okay. So yeah, that sounds like kind of what this seems to be.
Yeah, I think the big problem with this is the animatronics in the trailer don't look very good.
Yeah, it's hard to not compare this to Willy's Wonderland, whatever the last one was called, with Nick Cage, but those did look more like actual animatronics. These look like the ones from the video game, but that's got a stylized thing to it that isn't reality, where Josh Hutcherson and Matthew Lillard are from, or at least Josh Hutcherson for sure. Matthew Lillard, if you convinced me he was a cartoon character brought to life with magic, I'd be like, oh yeah, sounds right.
Yeah, it looks like they've CGI'd it to look exactly like the video game animatronics, but yeah, that just looks weird in real life, whereas the Willy's Wonderland ones were practical. They were actual animatronics.
Yeah, those look good.
What was the actual gameplay of Five Nights at Freddy's?
You were, well, the first one. We're just talk about the first one, or we'll be here all day.
Okay, yeah, we'll just... Sure.
Was basically just you're sitting in a room, and you have a certain amount of battery power with which you can, like, close doors and turn on lights, etc., to check where things are. And you have to, like... And you have a security camera that can only check, like, a couple rooms at a time. So you're, like, cycling through the rooms, trying to find out where the animatronics are at any given time, and when they get close to you, you want to close the doors so that they can't get to you. And the whole objective is just to survive the night.
Oh. If you play this game, is it designed... It seems like it's designed to be watched when you're playing it. Right? Like, it's a very popular game for streamers, because it's scary and jump scary and stuff.
Yeah. I don't know if that was the original intent, but that is absolutely what it became.
Do you think the movie could be that?
Where, like, you watch other people watch it?
Yeah. I guess
just get the movie on Twitch. All right, guys, we're going to watch Five Nights at Freddy's, the movie on Peacock.
Yeah, put it on that new platform where you stream, like, The Office or whatever. What's the one that they just got? That's what that's for. They were thinking ahead.
And no rules.
Yeah. What do you think is going to be the better Peacock video game adaptation thing? This or Twisted Metal starring the Falcon, Captain America, I guess now. They're making a Twisted Metal, you guys.
I feel at least in Twisted Metal, cars will go boom. So, like, that's...
You'd think so, right? The clips
good.
We've seen so far, a lot of people walking around, not too many cars, but I do think there will be cars eventually.
Didn't they get someone interesting to be Sweet Tooth, the evil clown?
They probably did, but I don't know who that is. Like, I don't remember the name of it.
Okay. So, Will Arnett is the voice of Sweet Tooth, and Samoa Joe is the body of Sweet Tooth.
The Samoa Joe? Holy shit,
Samoa
really?
Joe.
The body of Sweet Tooth?
Wow.
You know, it's one of those ones where he's like, his voice is a voiceover, which is Will Arnett, but the physical performance is Samoa Joe.
I like the idea of, like, Samoa Joe with Will Arnett's voice. I think that's awesome.
Does does everything that Sweet Tooth, like when he gives you ice cream, does he say, take my ice cream, this is the body of Sweet Tooth? And then you go, thank you, Sweet Tooth. That would be your name.
Yeah, that's exactly it, yes.
Does he actually have ice cream in that ice cream truck?
I don't know. I never played a Twisted Metal game.
Yeah, they should give him some ice cream. That comes out real soon.
Does it?
I think so. They did release a clip of it where Sweet Tooth and him are fighting, and Anthony Mackie are fighting in a casino or something. It's a lot of punching. And the Thong Song, I think, comes up in it or something. I don't know.
What?
It's going to be a comedy. So I guess this series is always kind of funny. Like, it took itself seriously, but it was also kind of, hey, this is a little silly.
So. Like a Saints Row vibe? Well, before Saints Row 4 when it just got insane.
But you kind of like the early GTAs where you're like, this is fun. Like you're playing it for fun. But it's also supposed to be kind of serious at its heart.
Before GTA went woke.
That's right. Before they went woke, and it became all about, I don't know, stealing a boat or something. That's about as far as I got into the story of the fifth one before I stopped playing it.
Yeah, it's just about a boat.
Yeah. But speaking of boats, cars and boats, in fact, boat cars, we got to talk about this week's movie, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Yes.
Yep.
Everyone's favorite Indiana Jones movie. The one that came out and everyone was like, this is the best and we love it.
And listen, I'm sure there was a person that said that. And probably in it. Probably directly related to Shia LaBeouf. But it's got an interesting... It's aged interestingly.
Not Shia LaBeouf himself, as we know, famously.
Right. And like, that was... Yeah, I had kind of forgotten about that until recently. That was kind of what Shia LaBeouf was known for. Was like, hey, the movie stinks. I think he should have said it's the greatest movie ever made, and then just, tried to trick us like Tom Cruise did. Sometimes it works, Hasn't recently, but it used to. And
yeah, maybe then we would have forgiven Shia LaBeouf for all his future crimes that he hadn't committed yet.
Yeah, I kind of forgot what his crimes were.
I don't know if there were actual crimes, just a lot of weirdness with bags on head.
Well, there was a lot of weirdness that some people hated him for, but I was like, whatever. And then it turns out that he abused his girlfriend, and I was like, actually, no, I'm not on board anymore.
So there were crimes.
Interesting.
Yeah, there were crimes.
Okay.
Also, that whole movie he made about how his dad abused him growing up turned out to be complete lies.
Oh, that's how you do it, right? Isn't that what Purple Rain was too? There's all kinds of dramatized my family stuff, and then in the end it was like, yeah, no, but it was cool in real life.
But Shia LaBeouf on the trail promoting the movie said it was all true, and then a couple years later was like, actually it wasn't. My dad was fine. In
the movie, have you seen the movie? Because I haven't seen it.
No, I haven't.
Do you know if he invents flaming hot Cheetos in that one? That'd be pretty funny if we also
I think so, yeah.
Took credit, yeah. Might as well. If you're gonna lie, throw that in there. People will believe it. Apparently, they'll eat it up.
Apparently, nobody keeps good records of who invented a snack food, so you can just claim any. Guys, what snack food did you invent?
Oh, I actually invented the... do you guys remember when they did, for a little bit, I don't think they do it anymore, Funfetti Oreo?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
That was me.
Wow.
I was Funfetti Oreo guy. Yeah.
Yeah, similarly, I was the one that did the Lady Gaga Oreos. I was
wow.
those idiots will buy anything. Just kidding. Lady Gaga's fine. I have no strong feelings about Lady Gaga. I also invented Flaming Hot Cheetos, so that was pretty cool.
Oh.
I'm trying to get those into an Oreo, but we just can't figure out the science. It's too much. I don't know. Has that actually been an Oreo? I haven't checked. Not super up to date on my Oreo stuff, but I wouldn't be surprised if they've made spicy Oreos. Let's see.
I'm sure they have.
Yeah. Holy shit, they are a thing. Oh my god. Are they really? This might be fake. I don't know. Oh, they look real. But, okay, so there's definitely people that have coated Oreos in Flamin' Hot Cheetos and, fried them. That seems to be a thing. People have made fake, boxes.
Packaging?
Yeah, for the Flamin' Hot Oreos. And it's only a matter of time then, I feel like, until that actually happens, because why not? They seem to have made cinnamon Oreos.
They've made every Oreo. Just like there's every Mountain Dew flavor, there's every Oreo.
Yeah, just like the Mountain Dew flavors, one of them is good. All the rest are marketing bullshit.
Have you ever had the Mountain Dew Pitch Black?
I have. I've had almost all the Mountain Dews, except for some of the recent ones where I'm like, I'm too old for this. But Yeah, I had all the ones that came out while we were like in
I'm
college.
too old for the Mountain Dew game.
Yeah.
Can I give us a quick tangent story that is only interesting to me, but I'd like to share?
Sure.
We're like 7 tangents deep at this point.
Yeah, it's
so why not?
encouraged. It's a podcast, DJ.
Right. That's the construct. My bad.
Yeah.
So, I think it was this most recent Royal Rumble. Had a bunch of people over to watch the Rumble, and they were hyping up this Mountain Dew. What was that?
You said the Rumble?
The Royal Rumble.
Oh, I thought you meant
Not
character
Darius
from...
of-
Yeah, I thought you meant Darius Manuel
The
Grayson.
third,
Sorry.
a.k.a. the Grumble.
The Rumble,
yeah.
yeah. Go on.
No, not him, unfortunately.
Okay.
So they were hyping up this match. It was the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match, where it was going to be a match that was entirely in darkness, and it was going to be sponsored by Mountain Dew. Or like it was being sponsored by Mountain Dew. The whole like thing worked. So they were like, "Oh wow, Mountain Dew Pitch Black! Like, what's that?" We're kind of curious to know what that cool thing is. So our friend John Musikowski, who Nando, you know, Diggins, you don't, but it's fine, whatever.
He's been on the show back years ago when it was.
Oh
a
my
different
god,
show,
that's
but
right. Back when we were
search through the annals and find him in there.
That's right. People can have proof that this show exists.
Yeah.
But we're like, John, go get us Mountain Dew Pitch Black. And he brought us all, like, he went to 7-Eleven and got, like, 6 Mountain Dew Pitch Blacks for us. And we all hated it. It was terrible. We're like, this is the worst Mountain Dew ever.
Yeah,
we were so hyped. We're like, yeah, John, bring us the Mountain Dew Pitch Black. We're so ready. And it was bad. It was so bad.
It's like the kind of grapish one, or like it's
Yes.
Like, I don't care for that one. What was the match like? Did they shut off all the lights and then just take everybody's money or something? Or did they pretend all the wrestlers showed up?
Yeah, it was like, that was the weird part. It's like, it was dark, but like they had like black light stuff on, so you kind of just saw like shapes moving. It was weird. It was weird. It wasn't like, I don't know, I don't want to say, like, it was enjoyable insofar as like wrestling is enjoyable, but it wasn't like, this is the coolest shit ever, so yeah. But yeah, it was fun.
Wrestling, I know you guys listen and steal ideas probably. So Saudi Arabia or whoever owns wrestling now, do that again, but instead just completely black out the stadium and narrate the most exciting wrestling match ever with like magic and shit and wrestlers coming back from the dead, that we can never see, like that one scene in Popstar where they've stopped filming and then they fight a bunch of bees. That'd be pretty funny. I'd like it.
Don't they do that in oh my god, what was it? There's like a South Park episode where they do that, I want to say.
Oh, maybe. Where
like Kenny's in heaven and he's like playing a fight on a video game. It's like, this is the greatest fight
right.
we've ever seen of all time.
Yeah, exactly. Just like that. And it works because they have announcers, so the announcers could just read it. And it'd be nice because then they wouldn't have to actually have the announcers there. The announcers could sneak out and have a little soda or whatever.
Yeah.
Have some of that Mountain Dew Pitch Black, get their energy right back. Before we get into Indiana Jones, what's the best Mountain Dew flavor? Okay, well, we already know what the best is. What's the second best Mountain Dew flavor?
Oh man, is it Code Red? I feel like it's not Code Red.
I quite like Code Red. I think Code Red might be the second best, even though I think Gamer Fuel is also very good.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I struggle with Code Red because I find that taste to be so strong. I might have to know, like, what are the other Mountain Dew flavors that I could pick.
Okay, you got Live Wire. That's like kind of the orangey one.
Yeah.
You have Gamer Fuel. I'm not sure what Gamer Fuel actually is, but it's like also
It's
orange.
fuel for gamers.
Yeah, it comes out when they make Halo games and stuff. I think it's pretty good. Obviously, you got Baja Blast. You have 2 seasonal Baja Blasts now that are also pretty great. There's a mango and a pineapple one. I want to say there's a whiteout as well as blackout. You said Live Wire, and then there's a bunch of other ones.
If I'm allowed to pick like a mango or pineapple Baja Blast, it's gonna be that.
Yeah,
like they're like
pineapple
sure.
Baja Blast is probably, it might be better than regular Baja Blast. It's fantastic.
Ooh, wow, that's a claim.
They just got to put them both out more. But besides I'm not going to go to Taco Bell. What am I? I can't be drunk all the time. You know, sometimes I have to be sober.
Listen,
it's
sometimes it's good in a pinch. It's good in a pinch.
I believe
That's
it.
what it's there for.
Please, you're not always drunk. Sometimes you're just depressed.
That's right. Yeah. and yeah, I love me some Baja Blast. So it is great, but yeah, the pineapple one, they just don't It was like from 2 summers ago, maybe even more. And I remember being like, this is great. I do think Code Red is kind of refreshing, honestly. It's the one that I think I could do like a spritzer of Code Red, where it's half actual, the drink and half just seltzer. That would be the right mix, but I like Code Red a lot.
I like the idea of it as a spritzer.
Yeah. I mean, there's like alcoholic Mountain Dews, right? You can get them as like malt liquor now, so it's just going one step further. Yeah, they make Baja Blast malt liquor, which is like, I'm sorry, Taco Bell. The point was I get drunk so I can go to the Taco Bell so that I can drink the Baja Blast. If I'm drunk in the Baja Blast, I'm not going to go to the Taco Bell.
Well, but now you can get drunk and go to the Taco Bell all in one trip.
That's true. I can have the Baja Blast on the way to I can walk to the Taco Bell, on the way to the Taco Bell, and then on the way home. It's perfect. But, yeah. What about you, Diggins? Do you have a favorite Mountain Dew flavor?
I don't like soda.
Well, lucky for you, they legally cannot classify Mountain Dew as soda. It is I don't know, what would it be? Some sort of
carbonated syrup beverage or some like bullshit like that.
Yeah, it's like a gasoline for lawnmowers, technically, is what it is classified as, but some people also drink it. Oh, I love it. It's weird that Mountain Dew doesn't have like a Chester Cheeto or something,
Yeah.
They should get gritty.
It does, Master Chief.
Yeah, that's true. They should do commercials where he skateboards and stuff. Hey, kids.
You want to be cool like your favorite guy?
Speaking of being a cool kid, we got to talk about Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Yeah.
Oh my God, we're here. Okay.
Diggins, you're the IMDb'sman for this one. I don't know. I usually say some of the things about it. I don't even remember who's in it. Shia LaBeouf, Indiana Jones, and
You just call Harrison Ford.
Whatever. Yeah. Kate Blanchett's in this one. Ray Winstone and John Hurt. I want to say that's most of it.
And Karen Allen.
Right,
yeah,
Karen Allen
on the
I always
poster.
forget she's actually in it. Yeah. I feel like there's somebody else too. That guy from Hot Fuzz that says "Great big bushy beard." He's in here. Love him.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's directed by Steven Spielberg. I assume written by Steven Spielberg also, or whatever. I don't know.
Nope.
Really, George Lucas? Did he write it?
Yes.
Nice. That's
Well,
why
him
there's
and
aliens.
like 4 other people.
Oh, okay, good for him. Did Kasdan write it too?
Let me see here, because I have the IMDb up.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Let me just look at this writer's section. Writing credits: David Kopp, Koepp, on screenplay. George Lucas and Jeff Nathanson on story. And there's a character's credit, but that just means like they wrote the original movie.
Right. Yeah. Well, cool. Good for those guys.
So I guess there was only one writer, but George Lucas and Jeff Nathanson came up with the story.
And what's Kopp been up to so far, or since then?
Let's see. He wrote Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Oh, good.
Great start.
Bringing back the crew.
He knows all their names, so that's a really easy... he probably has those names saved in Final Draft. He doesn't have to write them again.
He wrote the Tom Cruise Mummy.
Okay.
All right.
So Tom Cruise might think this is the best movie ever made, because he has a personal stake in the matter.
He hasn't written a lot since Crystal Skull. I think maybe he's, old and doesn't do that much anymore.
Interesting.
He wrote Angels and Demons.
Oh, yeah. But isn't that a book? I guess it's a book, but it probably had to get adapted and stuff.
Yeah. He wrote the screenplay, so yeah, I guess he adapted it for the screen.
Interesting. Remember those?
Yeah.
Have you seen all those?
I haven't seen... I was about to say I haven't seen any of them, but that's not true. I did watch Da Vinci Code.
Yeah. They're weird. We should do those on the podcast sometime. They'd be fun. All right. Yeah.
We do a little game here called the IMDb, B as in spelling bee. Where my esteemed co-hosts have to guess what the IMDb summary for this movie is. Now, you might be asking yourself, where does that IMDb summary come from? Well, I'll tell you. You see beneath IMDb.com headquarters, the big building they have in, I don't know, probably California, there is a hole, a big hole. They don't know where the hole came from. They built the building over it. And the reason they did that is because Henry IMDb, the founder of IMDb.com, was a spelunker who went down into that hole to see what he could find, just because to explore. And while he was down there, he found endless, twisting, labyrinthine caverns reaching deep, deep below the surface of the earth. And down there, he found a species of mole men who have evolved separate from the human race and developed their own society based on underground mushrooms and stuff. But these mole men, blind as they were, had an uncanny ability to predict the summaries of movies that hadn't come out yet. So Henry IMDb, Willy Wonka-like, offered them a job and a home in the building he would build in exchange for a bar of chocolate. And the mole men, having no idea of the value of chocolate, agreed. And they've been essentially slaves ever since, writing out summaries for movies. Now, because the mole men are blind, sometimes the summaries aren't so good. Because, the human workers of IMDb just have to kind of interpret their scratchings. And sometimes it's not so clear. But for this one, it's okay. It's not like perfect, but it's more or less correct. Okay. So the human workers did a pretty decent job interpreting the mole men's scratchings. So now, as last week's undisputed nobody questions loser,
I can't remember. Was there questions, or did I do great?
No.
Someone did say that there was questions. They were like, my IMDb page is different. So it's different
tiebreaker. Now, all three of us looked at it at the time, and that's what it was when we did the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
I cannot confirm that's true.
Oh my gosh.
Man, we got to do these live so I can influence the IMDb page as we go. So I can be like, guys, vote for Ben Affleck by clicking on his profile or looking at Daredevil or whatever. I don't know how that works, but yeah.
Anyway, as the loser, Nando, you get to choose who goes first.
Yeah, I'll let DJ go first. I kind of know what I'm doing here, but I want to see what he does.
All right. I think I want to keep it simple. Also, because it would break my brain if I tried otherwise. Okay. Indiana Jones must stop a Russian... No, it's not Russian. Indiana Jones must stop a Soviet plot to harness... in the ancient artifact known as the Crystal Skull.
Okay. I'm going to say legendary archaeologist Indiana Jones must work with new friends and old allies to go on a globe-trotting adventure and discover the mystery of the famed Crystal Skull.
All right. Nando?
Yeah?
I would love to give it to you.
All right. No. Thank you so much.
No.
Well, you'd love to.
Oh, no.
But DJ blew you out of the water.
Oh,
that's absolutely insane.
DJ did so good. It's crazy.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I'll take a handy lot, like a,
Oh, Nando, this is like the worst dry spell of all time.
Yeah, I mean,
DJ, listen. you got like 50% exactly correct. And the other 50%, like, one step away from correct.
Really?
You did so good.
What is it? What is the actual summary?
In 1957, Indiana Jones becomes entangled in a Soviet plot to uncover the secret behind mysterious artifacts known as the Crystal Skulls.
I don't know if I blew it out of the water.
You were like Indiana Jones, a little different. Soviet plot, a little different. Yep. Mysterious artifacts known as the Crystal Skulls. Yeah. You got that at last phrase exactly.
To be fair, I said crystal skull singular.
Okay, well, still.
I also kept forgetting there were multiple ones, but there weren't. But there were, right? Or there weren't.
There were in history. So there were at the end, and there are in history.
True.
But Indiana Jones rightly points out in the movie that the other ones are just like art objects.
Yeah, and they keep finding one, and then it's the other one, and then it's the other one. Like, it's always the same one until... Wait, is it? Yeah.
Yeah. The Crystal Skull in the movie is always the same Crystal Skull.
Wait. I mean, yes.
Is it
the one that's like the one that's the MacGuffin, like the thing they keep chasing and have it in the bag? It's the same one.
How does it end up in the Ponce de Leon or whatever? Does John Hurt put it there?
Yeah, he put it back.
Okay. And he gets it from the Russians?
No, he found it, did some stuff that's not very clear, and then put it back because the Russians were after it.
And what did they have in the beginning of the movie?
They find the Roswell alien corpse that they are just trying to confirm what they know about these aliens.
Oh, okay. You'd presume it also has a crystal skull in its head, right?
It does. In fact, Kate Blanchett shows it to us, but it's not the crystal skull that goes on the body we see at the end of the movie.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting.
So, I mean, I feel it fair to say, good summary.
I think it's okay. I feel like leaving Mutt out of the summary feels like a disservice to the this feels like a summary written with hindsight of like what people would like and remember fondly about this movie, and
that's fair.
Yeah, I kind of went in a different direction with it, but I'll take a loss where I actually lost, as opposed to one with Decepticons and stuff that aren't really. When you think about it. As
opposed to one where you lost equally as harshly.
Absolutely not. And
Nando, when was the last time you've won? I feel like you got to turn this around.
It's probably been like a month. I can't remember. These all blur together in my head. This is one with the Flash, right? He's in this?
That's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nando, as our loser, you get to tell us what happens in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
All right. Well, I'm glad we cleared up that thing with the Explorer, because that's the only part I didn't quite get. I think I more or less get the rest of this one. Okay. And obviously I've watched it, but like that I was confused about that. Okay. So Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. It's 1957? It's 56? One of those?
57.
57, yeah. 10 years after the end of the war. Indiana Jones is just doing his thing.
Not correct.
It's not correct? When does the war end?
It's like 12, but whatever.
1945.
Yeah, it's fine. It's like 12.
Oh.
It's, how parts of Japan, they were like still fighting or whatever.
Oh, that's, like, I count it based on that guy on that island. And we're still going, right?
You count based on that guy on that island. Yeah, 1957, war's not over.
Yeah. So deep in the middle of World War II, Indiana Jones is, so there's Soviets. They're doing stuff. They're doing bad stuff. They're going on bases and to steal things. And that's the beginning. They're racing little children and marmots or whatever are there, groundhogs. It's a whole thing. And they go to one base. It's in the middle of the desert. And Kate Blanchett is there. And in the trunk is Ray Winstone's guy and Indiana Jones. Ray Winstone, obviously never been in one of these before, but kind of treated like he's been in these before, some sort of old friend of Indiana Jones's, who we will learn in this scene is secretly working with the Russians, kind of, or whatever. The Russians want Indiana Jones to help them find what we will find out eventually is the Crystal Skull. And Kate Blanchett, dressed and acting like a character from a Street Fighter game or something, is like, hey, you have the crystal. You went on a mission once so dangerous. You remember it. Bring us to the artifact. And he's like, okay. So we go to this is the little room from the first movie and the, like Family Guy and stuff, all those things where there's little crates. We go to that and it's in there. Indiana Jones uses magnets to find it. The Soviets get it. And it turns out to be some sort of alien corpse in like a bag. And it was, like you're saying, from Roswell, New Mexico. Indiana Jones then runs away and stuff and does all that, gets in a rocket sled thing, and then does that scene that we all love, remember so well, where he jumps in the puts the baby in a microwave and puts himself in the refrigerator, and both are safely rocketed hundreds of thousands of miles away or whatever. So he survives that encounter, gets away from the Russians, but they get the alien, or like we're saying, that part doesn't really matter, but they do find it, and the hunt is on. So then the FBI, the G-Men, specifically the one from Scrubs, is like, Indiana Jones, you're a traitor or something, and Indiana Jones is like, not even a little bit, I'm cool. Somebody who I can't remember, who I think is a character actor, comes in and is like, don't worry, he's cool. And Indiana Jones just goes back to his business. He goes and teaches, gets fired. Him and Jim Broadbent both get fired, or Jim Broadbent resigns. And they're like, man, we're old, and this is the last movie, right? And Indiana Jones is like, it is. So then they go and like Indiana Jones is about to leave, but then he gets like accosted on the train by a young Marlon Brando looking type, a kid named Mutt Williams. He's riding his motorcycle to the train. I don't know what happens between those two scenes. If Mutt meets him at the next train station or if Indiana Jones jumps off the train, whatever. That seems like something Indiana Jones could do, but we don't see it. And Mutt Williams is like, listen, my mom, named Mary Ann or something, she is friends with a man named
Mary
Ox.
Williams.
He says, "Sister Mary." Okay, I was kind of confused about that. And he's like, you remember Mary Williams? And Indiana Jones is like, there's a lot of Marys. So he doesn't know who the mom is. He doesn't care. He knows who it is, and he just doesn't want to admit it because he's embarrassed by Mutt and his whole deal. But whatever. He's like, so Mutt's like, hey, listen, I know my mom Mary knows you, and she knows a guy named Ox. Not from American Pie, from this. He's like, his name is like Leonard Oxley or something like that. I can't remember, but it's William Hurt or John Hurt. John Hurt.
Not William Hurt.
Yeah, not William Hurt. So John Hurt is, well, we don't know that yet, but he's like, he was my best friend. I loved Ox. He loved to read me stories, and I went to sleep, and he's cool, and he's in danger. You got to help Ox. The Soviets are after him. And then at that same time, some Soviets show up and do a big chase. Mutt gets on the motorcycle and does motorcycle stuff. That's his whole deal. He uses greasers and stuff to distract them. And then they get away, and then they go on the chase. And they're like, we gotta find the secret of some explorer guy whose name I can't remember. Who's not Ponce de Leon, but one of those guys. And
Francisco de Orellano.
Now, is this a real guy, or did they make this up for the thing?
This guy's real.
Oh, okay. Cool. So yeah, they got him. They're like, we got to find him because he's got the information about this thing. He was another one of those guys that went looking for the City of Gold. It's not El Dorado. It's got another name. I can't remember. What is it?
They call it Akator.
Akator, yeah. So they're like, we got to go to Akator. And they do some Indiana Jones stuff straight out of Transformers Rise of the Beasts. They go into an old crypt or whatever, and they find a skull in one of the guys' bodies, one of the skeletons, like corpses. And it, like every scene in this, it ends because the Soviets are also already there, and they capture Indiana Jones. So then we learn Indiana Jones, and they capture Mutt Williams, even though they don't really want to. They're like, we can leave this kid, right? And they're like, no, I guess we gotta. So they take Mutt Williams, and then we meet his mom, Mary, who turns out to be Marion Ravenwood from the first movie. And she's like, and I like how the movie is like, he's your son, man. Just, it is. And Indiana Jones is like, fuck. Because he told this kid he didn't have to go to college or whatever, and now he's kind of bummed about that. And also, the kid sucks. And he's like, this is crazy. Also, my friend John Hurt is here, and he's babbling around and stuff. And he's like, it seems like the skull has driven him some form of madness. Although it's very clear to Indiana Jones that he's also got some secret information about whatever. Also, Ray Winstone is there, and he's like drunk or whatever. It doesn't matter. So then they escape. I cannot remember how. I imagine they just jump in a car and run away.
I mean, kinda. Yeah, it's the whole vehicle scene. They start by like beating up the guy in the car with them, and then they take over the truck, and then that whole long action scene happens.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if they were in the tank, but you're right. They're just in a truck, and then they get out, and then like they get free, and then they beat up the guy in the truck and take the truck. So yeah, you get that big action scene. Everybody's jumping around. For a while, you're like, I think Marion's gone, and then she comes back, and then a bunch of Cate Blanchett's dudes die. Obviously, Shia LaBeouf communes with nature, and there's that scene. Yet this is the scene where Indiana Jones punches a big guy, and then they fall off 3 waterfalls, and I don't know. The rest of it is like a hallucination as one dies in the river, I guess. I don't know what the explanation for the rest of the movie is, but they fall really far. Like, there's a reason people jump off bridges to do certain things. Like, I don't understand I guess the movie was like, this might be an amusement park ride someday, but whatever. So then they find Akator. And it's a skull in the island. Oh, also they have the crystal skull at this point. Or they don't. It doesn't matter. I'm pretty sure they do. Yeah.
Did the thing with the ants happen yet? Because that was crazy.
Oh, yeah. I kind of skipped over that. But that did.
No, yeah, just the ants is nuts.
The ants is wild. The ants is one of two things in this movie that I was like, oh, right. This movie has this in it. And we'll get to the other one eventually. So then they go to the crystal skull place. They do a bunch more Uncharted little puzzles and stuff to make little things so that they can go. There's some native people there that, I don't know, have been hiding. Yeah. And
the movie had to do a quick racism before it was over.
A second quick racism.
True.
They gotta, there's some sort of like, it's like Speed. If they don't do a racism every hour, Steven Spielberg explodes. So, so then they do Crystal Skull stuff. Cate Blanchett shows up again because that's how these go. Ray Winstone also in the last part of the movie was like, I'm secretly working for the CIA. Or the FBI? CIA, yeah.
Yeah.
And Indiana Jones is like, oh, okay, whatever. Then they go...
What, is this a triple cross?
And that part, I think he's like, yeah, and I'm like, it's definitely a triple cross Indiana Jones, but also, I don't know, that part's like, at that point, just shoot him, he doesn't matter. But they go down to the thing and do more puzzles. John Hurt, because they put the skull back into the thing, John Hurt is brought back to normal, and he's like, Indiana Jones, cool, this is cool. And then, Cate Blanchett finds them. They go into the room with the crystal skulls, like we're saying. It's a bunch of aliens. The movie is scared to say that. So they're interdimensional beings.
Yes.
It's a little
movie's also even though the second we see Roswell, we're like, oh, this one's about aliens. The movie just pretends like we don't realize that until the end.
Yep. And and they're all, and it's just their skeletons. So they put the crystal skull back on the one. It kind of snaps back into place, and then a bunch of shit happens. You're not supposed to look it in the eyes. Cate Blanchett does because she wants unlimited power and like knowledge and stuff. And then the alien turns into an alien like from cartoons, and then the whole thing turns into a spaceship like from cartoons. Cate Blanchett gets sucked up, and all our guys get sucked up into something, which is either like a teleportation tube or just like the wind turbine in this thing, and they're done. Doesn't matter. Although it would be so funny if at the end of this, a race of super alien Soviets show up and they're like, yeah, that's what happened. 20 years passed in real time or whatever. We're big monster men now. Indiana Jones and all the guys escape. Ray Winstone does the thing from Mummy where the guy who sucks tries to get more treasure and dies. And then they go home and get married. And the wind is like, here you go, Mutt. Here's the hat. And Mutt's like, I'm Indiana Jones. And Indiana Jones is like, to hell you are. And then the movie ends. That's it.
Good summary. I think that's like really good. Yeah,
that's all that happens. It's long. It's not as long as movies are now. For some reason, they all have to be 3 hours. I think if this movie was made today, it would be 3 hours long. But it's got all that stuff you love. Whip, punch guy, that theme song. So
car explode. Sand, snakes. It's got that.
Oh, it's got snakes. Yeah, it does have snakes. Does have ants, yeah. And, it is what it is. DJ, as the winner, what did you think of Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull?
Hey, guys.
Yeah?
This movie's not that bad.
Okay.
I think, having not seen it for a while, and looking back at it, I'm like, oh, this movie got so, like, tanked, and it was so bad, and oh, Indiana Jones aliens, blah, blah, blah. Looking at this, and looking at what we're headed toward with the Dial of Destiny, it's like, okay, this is like an older Indiana Jones, but not quite ancient. He doesn't look bad. There's like the one scene after he gets rescued from falling out of the refrigerator, and they're like scrubbing him down, and he's like shirtless. He doesn't look like awful. Like, I don't know. I was like, this feels like it's got all the stuff of an Indiana Jones movie. It's like fun, quippy, and funny enough. Harrison Ford's doing his best. It falls apart at the end. Like, if there was a little more ambiguity at the end, where it's not like a cartoon alien squints and looks right into Cate Blanchett and then a big flying saucer, like, maybe if it just gets zooped up, it's like, oh, that was weird. And maybe they're still not totally convinced, like, I don't know, but because it's a big alien with a big ship, it's, like, very hit you over the head. But, like, overall, I don't know. I don't think this movie's that bad. I think it's, like, a good enough Indiana Jones movie. It is too long. The Shia LaBeouf parts are really weird in retrospect. They probably should have just left, like, the whole, like, kid thing aside. It is, like, an amazing, though, retrospective. Like, at the time, they were like, okay, Shia LaBeouf is going to be our next Indiana Jones to carry the franchise. And just kidding, no, he's not. Like, that, there's a universe out there that Reverse Nando could probably make happen where, like, this upcoming Indiana Jones movie is being done by Shia LaBeouf as, like, the main indie character. Like, I don't know how they're going to address that in Dial of Destiny, but I assume they'll just let it go unaddressed. But it is pretty interesting that, like, that's where we are now.
How have they done that in movies since? Where, like, you know, I didn't see, like, Die Hard 5, but, like, in Die Hard 4, they introduced what's-her-name? DJ's favorite actress. And then it was kind of like, she's his kid, so she's definitely going to be in the next one. And then she wasn't. Like, I'm trying to remember another one of these where they did that. And they usually just have a line where they're like, I'm sure there'll be a line where it's like, hey, where's Mutt? And he'll be like, he's all fucking around. I don't care.
He's all fucking around.
He fell off a cliff.
Get off my plane.
Yeah, he got off my plane. He got right off. Fell into the water. So it's probably gonna be something like that. Although I don't know. I have no information. Haven't seen it. Haven't looked at any spoilers. I don't know if he's in it. I wouldn't be surprised, but
I would. He is like fallen off the face of the earth. Like I would be surprised if he was in it.
That's fair.
But anyway, that's what I thought of the movie. Nando, what did you think of the movie?
Yeah, you know, I'm kind of with you. I started watching this. I'd never seen it in a while. I watched it once when it came out. And then I think I went one more time since then. And in general, like, I'm not a humongous Indiana Jones fan, but, like, I like them. And I enjoy those movies, the good ones. And I don't say I can, like, look past all their problems through a modern audience lens. But, you know, they're weird in that way. But all the rest of it holds up pretty well. It's pretty fun and thrilling. So I watched the beginning of this, and I'm like, this is pretty stupid, but I liked it. I think this movie looks fantastic, and in the beginning, and then Shia LaBeouf showed up, and I was expecting to hate him, and I kind of did, but also I was like, I don't hate him as much as I kind of expected to. Marianne shows up, she's cool, she's got the interesting energy, it's all great, and I'm like, how did this movie get so much hate? Why did this not work? And then the third act starts, and I'm like, oh right, this is really bad. I think this movie is really fun, and then the third act just stinks big time. I did not like any of it. I think all the alien stuff is dumb. I think most of the stuff that with the South American jungle stuff is dumb. I think some of the car chase is fun, but, like, man, I feel like this movie squanders so much goodwill going into the end. And yeah, I was quite bummed. I think all the performances are fine. I'm with DJ. I think Indiana Jones, like Harrison Ford, was pretty good. His shtick hadn't quite worn off. I'm curious if it has. Like, I don't even know if he's bad in Force Awakens. Like, I don't know if he's turned in a performance that's, like, truly not fun to watch, even if you could tell he's not having as much fun in it. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't mind him, didn't mind Shai. I think Cate Blanchett is okay. She's okay. It's got all the staples of an Indiana Jones movie, so, like, all that stuff kind of works about as well as that usually does. It really is just, man, that stuff at the end, visually, and just, like, yeah, like, showing the whole shark, it's not good. And yeah, the ending's really funny in retrospect. What about you, Diggins? What did you think of Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull?
I largely agree with you guys, where I watched about the first half of this movie and I was like, wow, this is a lot better than I remember it being. Like, that first half is really fun. The motorcycle chase scene is cool and great, and, like, the sort of, like, Uncharted puzzle-solving stuff is a lot better than it is in Uncharted. When they're, like, trying to track down where Ox went and where the skull is and everything.
I do think this movie could use a little bit more Sbarros. That was my one criticism, is, like, it's kind of a bummer that we didn't run into a Sbarros in the middle of this
Yeah,
jungle.
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
I love when Mutt punches that one guy and the malt shop immediately breaks between the greasers and, like, the college kids.
Incredible.
It was so funny. However, my one point of disagreement is I think the problems start a little earlier than you guys do.
Okay.
That's fair.
Okay.
I think the problems start about halfway through. Excuse me. when basically when the whole group is together, when they find Ox and Marion and like and do the big vehicle chase scene, which I think starts pretty fun, but very quickly becomes like really disorganized and like just scrambled and just not that fun to watch, and a bunch of CGI. Every time this movie dips heavy in CGI, it gets markedly worse. And yeah, I think just everything with that's like when the movie starts focusing on things that really don't work as well, like both the action scenes become more CGI. I don't think either Ox or Marion's characters work super well because they took so long to go in, and like there's really no texture to like the conflict between Indy and Marion, where she's like mad at him at first, and then he says like one thing and it's all good and they're in love again. And like I wish there was more of an argument there about like, or more of a conflict that like he did something to resolve. And Ox is just like not a character because he's crazy the whole movie. So it's like hard to care about him for that. And Ray Winstone's character is the worst because you don't even know what's going on with him for most of the movie.
Yeah.
So, like, again, like you say, he has the whole, like, classic, kind of bad, kind of good guy stays behind to get treasure and ends up dying because, you know, don't love treasure so much. But we never got a good sense of who he is or, like, why he and Indy were friends. Like, he doesn't do anything before he turns, so it's like, it doesn't have any weight to it.
Yeah.
I don't know. So it's like, and then of course all the things you guys already said about the finale. The finale is not so great either. But yeah, so I think if this movie had a better second half, I think it would have been as good as the other Indiana Jones movies, because that first half does work really well. But it all starts falling apart, and by the end, it's not so great. I even like Shia LaBeouf in this movie for the most part.
Really?
Like, yeah, I don't mind him either. I think he was okay. I think it was pretty fun.
Like, I think the character could have been a little sharper, a little like more clearly drawn, but I think all his interactions with Indy are pretty good. The way he is putting on like the greaser tough act, and Indy just sort of like instantly deflates it every time. I thought that kind of dynamic was fun.
Yeah. I think there was a sense at the time, and I remember feeling this, of like, I think like DJ touched on this, like this, hey kids, we got it. Now it's Indiana Jones for kids. Like, he's the hot new thing, and he's going to be Indiana Jones now. Is this what you want? And we were all like, definitely not him. That maybe not anybody. Like, that's not what these are for. So that, I do remember feeling like overall leaving that movie the first time going like, man, I did not like Shia LaBeouf. But you're right. I think as a part of a movie where you know that he's not going to be taking over the franchise, he's just like a side character. Yeah, I think so, he's okay.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's fair.
So yeah, it's not a great movie. I definitely understand why none of us liked it back then, and it's not even that good now. But there's a lot of good stuff in there, actually, looking back on it.
Yeah, it's frustrating because like it's a really strong start, and a start that like also feels different than the other ones in a way that's like a natural progression of what an Indiana Jones movie can be. And so like it doesn't quite feel like we're trying to make, you know, Raiders of the Lost Ark again. It's like, yeah, what's this guy doing now, and what's the aesthetic now, and all that stuff. And I thought that was pretty great. And yeah, it really just veers into like, what does the Indiana Jones movie kind of look like? I don't know. It's hard to explain without, and I know, Diggins, I think you've said you've never seen The Mummy. DJ, have you seen The Mummy? Like Brendan Fraser?
Oh, man. It's been a long time since I've seen The Mummy. But yes, I have seen it.
Because this feels like, and it is, like an Indiana Jones movie made in the shadow of The Mummy. And there's certain beats specifically that I'm like, oh, right, that was in The Mummy. And they just don't work when they're here. Like you're saying, Treasure Room, that's in The Mummy. Bugs that eat you and like get swarm guys, that's in The Mummy. Certain elements of the chase scenes and stuff like that, all sword fights, that's in The Mummy. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody that wrote this movie wrote The Mummy. I haven't gone to look at the IMDb page, but like, yeah, it feels like they are kind of channeling that. And you know, it's not the worst, but it like,
well,
yeah.
You know what the problem is that there was no Indiana Jones movie for like 20 plus years.
Yeah.
So then this comes out and it's too late. Like, we needed a mid-90s Indiana Jones movie. So maybe there's only a 10-year gap. And it's like, oh, okay, they're just really spacing it out, you know. But a 20-year gap, it's like, that is difficult. Like, we're going to end with 5 Indiana Jones movies until they, like, CGI Harrison Ford till the end of time. But, like, maybe the right number was 6. We should have, like, 6 Indiana Jones movies.
Yeah, I think if this came out in the 90s, it would have been a big hit.
Yeah.
I don't know who the guy would be. Who was the hot kid in the early 90s?
Like not quite
Jonathan
Ryan Gosling.
Taylor Thomas or something, like Justin Timberlake, like
Urkel.
Oh my God, yeah, that would have been great.
I mean, not late 90s or early 90s is probably too late for Urkel. I think that show was in the 80s.
That's true.
They could have done, like, Will Smith. Like, that would have been interesting.
They could have done Will Smith.
Like, not the son angle, but, like, you know, some other different, like, student or whatever, like, finds another way to take the mantle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like it definitely feels like there's a movie we're missing. But I do think, like, just that transition from this to... It's kind of like... Honestly, it's kind of like what kind of happened with James Bond, where the Kingsman movie came out between James Bonds, and it kind of threw off James Bond's rhythm a little bit.
Yeah.
Where, like, the Mummy feels like that. Like, the Mummy feels like in its early 2000s, but, like, if it's not late 90s, it's very early 2000s, and it's like the very natural progression of a franchise like this. Like, almost all of the things in the Mummy could happen with Indiana Jones instead of Brendan Fraser. Oh yeah, it was 99. So, and it definitely did CGI better.
Have you looked at Scorpion King lately?
Oh, no, definitely not Scorpion King. I'm thinking Mummy 1. Mummy 1 was, like, very ahead of its time with a lot of the Imhotep stuff. Even the Scorpion King, besides The Rock, usually looks pretty good, but obviously he's pretty bad.
I mean, that's iconic, right?
Yeah, but like this stuff where it's like a big sand wall, kind of, it's a face that eats you, or like a guy that's part of him is gone and he's mostly skeleton. Like that stuff in the first Mummy looks great. And I guess the second Mummy had come out by now too. I wondered, when did they make the third one in China? Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, I think is what it's called. Because 2008. So that came out the same year as this. And, like, that also feels like a shot at kind of recapturing the magic that also failed the same way. Although I haven't seen it in a while. Maybe it's good. It's kind of show you. I don't know. Yeah, it does. So maybe it's cool. I don't know. What was your guys' favorite part of this movie?
Probably that motorcycle chase scene I already mentioned. Like, from start to finish, that is just, like, the best action scene in the movie, hands down.
Yeah, it's true.
I don't
like, the fight scenes are okay. But they can still only do much with, like, old Harrison Ford, right? Is part of the problem.
Well, yeah,
he is old at this point.
He's 80 now, which means he was, what, like 65 then? So just on the verge of retirement?
He was 64 at the time of filming, yeah.
Yeah, so that is a stretch. I agree, he looks like better than, you know, your average 64-year-old, but yeah. You do get the sense in these fights that I think they were always kind of implausible, like Indy was taking all these hits and just like, I don't know. It feels like in this movie, something happened to Indiana Jones. Like, have you ever seen the theory that his dad's immortal now? And like that's why he has the super strength necessary to pull Indiana Jones up out of the big cave in number 3 because he drank out of the thing. Like, it's...
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely not immortal because he's dead in this one. But, like, it seems like...
Far as they know.
Yeah, that's true. As far as he knows, he might have faked his death on that submarine. But... different one on the one from Red October, you know, that's what I was talking about. I guess like it feels like Indiana Jones got touched by the lead stick or something that turned him into a man made of lead, pretty much Wolverine, where like he's punched an insane amount and he's fine. There's that bit in the first like big chase scene where he's thrown through the whole car and just lands on it and is like, man, this car is made of cardboard. Fuck. Like, it's crazy how weird Indiana Jones, the human being in these, feels.
Yeah.
Which does make the fight scenes kind of weird, though, because, yeah, you're seeing these guys punch him, and I'm like, if I were that guy who gets dragged into hell by the ants, I would be like, what am I not doing here? I'm punching the 60-year-old man in the face 15 times. What do I have to do to kill him?
He's so strong.
He's impervious. Yeah, I do think that first action scene's pretty fun in the thing.
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, no, that action scene is also good. The only like extended action scene I don't like is the vehicle chase.
Yeah.
With the monkeys.
With the monkeys, yes.
Yeah, the monkey part
Also,
is where
yeah,
it loses me.
Anytime a CGI animal shows up, also very bad.
Yeah, except for that groundhog. Groundhog looked great. They blew all their budget on the groundhog. I don't know.
The one that gets murdered or almost murdered by the teens.
I mean, and definitely murdered by the... Well, no, I guess he survives the explosion. He's there at the very end. So, but yeah, you're right.
Best thing about the opening, though, is when the teens are, like, trying to get the one soldier to race them. And the guy, like, the soldier's, like, all excited and looks to his commanding officer, who is right next to him. And he's just got, like, an extremely, like, sour look on his face, like, no.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you think this is?
Yeah, I do think...
Also, what are those teens doing there? You're just, like, in your car, racing random soldiers.
Teen stuff.
Yeah, you don't... every time you go to work, DJ, you don't run into, like, 3 different cars full of teens trying to get you to race?
Oh, that's what they're doing.
Yeah, it's... I mean, now they're, like, you know, doing it for, like... They're doing TikTok dances instead of trying to get you to race. But they are all in their cars going top speed. 2 boys, 2 girls is the rules. Yeah. There's some pretty... There is, like... I think it's interesting. What did you guys think of the 50s setting?
Did you know this movie was directed by Steven Spielberg? Did you guys know that?
Oh, I did.
I did.
That's crazy.
I got a sense for it. Yeah, I got a sense for it the minute it started, and it looked great. The minute it starts, and you're like, "There's not even a horizon in this shot. It's incredible. He's learned so many lessons. He's a perfect filmmaker."
Thanks, David Lynch, for teaching Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
No.
It was fine. Yeah, it's good.
Sorry, what was the question?
What did you think of the 50s? How the 50s aesthetic kind of played into it?
I think that's something that really fades away over time in this movie. Kind of necessarily, because they end up in a jungle. And, like, how much 50s stuff can you do in a jungle? But I like it in the beginning. I think, you know, having the... You know, listen, Cate Blanchett, the character isn't given a lot to do, but Cate Blanchett is doing everything as Dr. Irina Spalko.
Big facts.
Like, she is hamming it up so hard, and I love it.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, Dr. Jones.
Yeah, she's great.
And so I love, like, how they make use of, like, the Soviet villains. I love the, you know, having the atom bomb. The atom bomb thing is super silly. And, like, yeah, he's dead. But honestly, on this watch, I was like, I kind of like it.
Well, he's made of lead. He's the Wolverine man. So, like, Wolverine survives the atom bomb in the Wolverine movie. He survives this.
I know. Maybe what happened is he gets in the lead-lined fridge.
Oh.
And then the atom bomb goes off, and it, like, fuses his DNA with lead particles and makes him into a lead man.
I like that. It wouldn't explain the cart thing from the beginning, but everything else after that, it'd be like, yeah, this man is indestructible. I would buy it.
Yeah. And I love the greasers versus not greasers fight in the malt shop. The motorcycle chase through the anti-Soviet protest that's happening for some reason.
Oh yeah,
all that stuff is great. All the, like, textural details of it is great. And also it's just kind of necessary because Harrison Ford is old now, and what are you going to do? Just pretend that he's not? Right.
Yeah. And
I mean, they sure do try.
Well, it's like, and I'm sure they'll do it in this one too. And I'm like, we already did it, so it doesn't count. Or, like, it's not in the new one. It won't feel as cool, but it has that, like, you know, what is an old Indiana Jones's place in this world kind of energy and, like, question. And, like, I think in the beginning of the movie, it does, feel like it. Like, you do feel like this is a movie about an old man as opposed to, like, a young man pretending to be in his 40s again, or an old man pretending to be 40. But, I feel like, I don't know, there was something about the beginning scenes of this movie, not the first shot with the CGI groundhog, but, like, everything after that where, like, they're in the, is there a name for what that warehouse is? There's gotta be, right?
They call it Hangar 51, like Area 51.
Is that what it was called in the original? Or there probably wasn't a name for it?
I don't think so.
Yeah. But yeah, when everything opens at Hangar 51 and all that stuff, when Indiana Jones just is standing around, I could be convinced this movie was made in 1980, 6 or whenever, like 3 years after the last one was. Like, it just looks so good, so crisp and like sweet, and that's why the end stuff looks so bad. I think it's because you just like remember what the movie looked like an hour ago. But do you think the part of the 50 stuff that pisses me off the most, not piss me off, but like I think annoys me the most looking at the whole movie is the like the FBI stuff, where in that one scene they're like grilling him, they're like, you're not an American, you're a communist, you love the Russians and stuff. I'm like, I think, I don't know if this movie could have benefited from taking place fully in the United States. I don't think they could have done that. But like, you do kind of feel like when that starts, you're like, oh, are they going to be like the third party in these kind of fights? They keep showing up and causing trouble for Indiana Jones, but they really just fade right into the background again too. It's
yeah. It's honestly crazy if he's under like federal investigation by the FBI that they let him leave the country.
Yeah, that's true.
He's Indiana Jones, so
that's true. And does he fly? I guess he just flies commercial, right? Or like it's in some probably freight ship, and
I think he flies commercial to Havana, and then it's like chartered biplanes from there.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Which for a second had me going, wait, hold on. But then I remembered, Cuban Revolution hasn't happened yet. Cuba is still an American client state at this time.
Yeah, and they start talking about stuff, and you're like, that's cute. I like the who was the historical figure that Indy references when he's talking to Mutt for the first time. They're walking through the like the market. Remember what I'm talking about?
Vaguely.
He like name checks a real person that was part of some revolution, or I cannot remember who it is, but like he spits.
It's like Che Guevara.
It's not Che Guevara, but it's like Che
Cuban
Guevara.
Revolution hadn't happened yet. I just said that.
Whatever.
Oh, you're talking about when he says when he was with Pancho Villa.
Is that what it is? Maybe.
That's when they're in Peru at that point, because he's speaking Quechua with some people.
Yeah, you're right.
Which is an indigenous language. And he says he learned it with Pancho Villa, which doesn't make any sense because Pancho Villa was Mexican and most of his men were Mexican, and Quechua is a South American indigenous language, but whatever.
Also, like, I'm looking at this now. Pancho Villa was assassinated in 1923. I guess he was in his 20s.
This is actually a reference to the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, that like TV show or whatever.
Yeah.
There is an episode where he's like kidnapped by Pancho Villa and like spends some time with him and his gang.
Oh shit.
Are those canon?
Apparently.
Huh.
Cool. I've never watched them, besides that one that's
Me
in the
neither.
beginning of the third one, kind of. But yeah, they seem fun, kind of. People like them, I guess.
Was that Harrison Ford in them?
Well, no, it was what's his name?
Okay.
It's River Phoenix, right? I think. Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix's brother. Who? I mean, if they made it today, it would be like a weird smooth face Harrison Ford child that walks at this pace of an old man. Like, wow, young Indiana Jones loves sitting down. Every time he gets in a new room, he's searching for a chair. Incredible. That's where he got it from.
Oh man.
Yeah, what else is fun about that? What else is good? I do like that's the part that's so frustrating about the big extended chase in the jungle. It sucks. But also, the bit where they're sword fighting is cool. I like that a lot. I wish they were able to do that better.
I don't know. By the time that Shia LaBeouf is like stretched out between the two cars and things kept hitting his balls,
oh my god!
I was like, I don't know
That
about
was
this
so
anymore,
bad.
guys.
They're just guaranteeing that there's never going to be the Indiana Jones line ends here. No
There's
more.
no Henry Jones the Fourth.
Nope. Yeah, I guess like, and it just keeps going. And there's too many cars. Like I said, and there's like 3 cars, and there's like, let's say it's like 10 minutes long. By minute 7, we've lost track of where Marianne is, and like she shows up at the very end and are like to save them from the bugs, and you're like, oh right, she's in these movies. That's cool. But yeah, in theory, it could have worked. I don't know. Is this like one of those kind of like what do you compare it to? Kind of like Phantom Menace, like people getting excited about CGI and really going overboard with it? Like, is this Steven Spielberg's Phantom Menace?
I mean, I guess in terms of the CGI, probably. I mean, even then, it's not as bad as Phantom Menace.
Oh, sure.
It just the scenes that do use it suffer for it, but it's not. But there is a lot of practical stunt work in here.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's very like, honestly, if they filmed it today, it would all be on the volume. It would be like they'd all be in that soft focus jungle. But yeah, it's just the backgrounds, or it's just like the big shots where it just doesn't look quite right, and it just looks too like a lot of it's too vibrant and like colorful, which doesn't quite track. I don't know. What was your least favorite part of this movie?
Oh man, there's some good options there. Some good contenders. Like I really do have a lot of contempt for the very end of this movie, like with the, because like I felt like there was an opportunity for this movie to have a less like grating ending where it's like, oh, it's just like you're hitting me over the head with these like fucking aliens, like the alien like squinting right at me, like just close up of the face. I hated so much.
Kate Blanchett, how dare you want to know things?
Yeah.
Enjoy your punishment.
Was this a movie that you could see in 3D? I know Avatar kind of kicked that off, so it was a few like years before that, but that felt like a very put your glasses on now kids moment. But I wonder if it was.
Was this the era where every movie came out in 3D?
I like I was saying, I don't know if that happened until 2010. Like I don't think you could watch Iron Man 1 in 3D, which came out the same month as this. Or like Speed Racer in 3D. Otherwise, those people would be babbling like John Hurt does in this movie for the rest of their lives because they stared straight into the face of God. Yeah, the end is weird.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, my single least favorite moment is probably when Shia LaBeouf gets hit multiple times in the balls.
That's
awful. While he's in the vehicle chase. It's so stupid.
I didn't mind that one bit. I thought that was pretty good.
I mean, I don't mind the idea of Shia LaBeouf getting hit multiple times in the balls.
Yeah.
But it being in the movie where it's supposed to be like a funny little moment, I was like, I don't know about this, guys.
Yeah. They saw that one scene from Shrek, and they're like, this is what the kids love. Let's give it to them.
The kids love when people get hit in the balls.
Succession. Yeah. I feel like for me, there's two things that I did not like about this movie. Really small things that I didn't like. One is the magnetism. Because you feel it's cute so in the moment, but it's also like, I have a hard time suspending my disbelief in some of these scenes where like you say the word magnet and then all the lamps go, oh, right. And then they turn to the magnet, like, and it's just, yeah, it's pretty silly. But
how magnetized would a thing have to be for gunpowder to make a little like tracking cloud that goes right to it?
From like 100 feet away. And then
it would, I'm pretty sure, have to be one of the most powerful electromagnetics that's ever existed.
Yeah.
Well, it is alien, so... But why aren't there, like, belt buckles and stuff, like, flying towards it? Like...
Exactly. And how come when something does get stuck to it, they just have to pull on it a little and it comes off?
Yeah. Yeah, it's so weird. Like... I feel like...
I did like... Oh, sorry, you go.
I was just gonna say, like, you can pull that off with, like you can... I think once the alien is out of the box, I don't mind it quite as much. Because you could go, maybe the box is blocking it or something, like the little tomb it's in. They're not tomb, like the little sarcophagus. But everything before that, it's like, yeah, everything in this, like you go, where is it? Oh, it's that one box that all the boxes are surrounded by, because they just, like, I think there's some metal in the Ark of the Covenant, I would assume. So that's probably just immediately thrown to it.
I mean, not remembering how this movie opens, because I last saw it in 2008 when it came out.
Wait, you didn't watch it recently?
Well, I watched it for this podcast.
Oh, okay. I was like, you're going off like, yeah, okay, sorry.
No, I'm saying when I was watching it for the podcast and not remembering how it opened.
Right.
I was like, I was expecting, his plan is once they open it, it'll be super magnet, like all their guns will go to it, and that's how he'll escape.
Yeah.
That's not what happens at all. But yeah, I did like, though, in when they first find the crystal skull, and Indy's like, whoa, this is a crazy magnet. And Shia LaBeouf is like, yeah, gold's not even magnetic.
Yeah.
And I was like, I like that we are pointing out that this thing is acting strange for a magnet. Because, A, that's acknowledging a physical reality, and B, it makes it more mysterious. It's not just a super powerful magnet, it's exhibiting properties that normal magnets do not.
Yeah, although...
But it is still, like you said, selectively magnetic.
And you get to the point after that where it's like you're saying, he's like, it's not like usual magnets. And then the crystal skull turns into the weird problem solving, like, oh, are we going to get into this? Just point the skull at it. Just point the skull at the guys, and then they'll vaporize probably. I don't know. That seems to be how
hate magnets.
The ants, it's how you open doors. The guys in the
not
in
white
the thing,
people hate magnets.
It's their least favorite thing, man. They love aliens and love learning their secrets and hate magnets. I do think like that was maybe. I don't think it's the worst part of the movie, but the biggest groan came from that. Like, they gave them agriculture and you know, did pyramids and shit. Like, how did they even think about it on their own? I was always wondering. I was looking at these pyramids, like, not from them, though.
Yeah, so officially confirmed, this movie is less woke than Rise of the Beasts, which says the ancient aliens didn't do the cool stuff.
This movie is like borderline less woke than Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. At least that guy figured out the rocks on his own. Like, it's such a dumb cliche now, but also, like, even then, I feel like it doesn't need to be in the movie. It just, by that time you get to it, it's like, I don't even give a shit about most of this stuff anymore. I just want to see, you know, whatever happens at the end of the movie happens. But just has to sneak that in there to make it seem realistic. I don't know. Was that part of, like, were we in our Ancient Aliens phase then, where everything was aliens and we just... Because, like, that was I can't remember when that was, but that was the time.
I feel like it's actually preceded it. I feel like the Ancient Aliens pop-off was more in the early 2010s.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Well, because it was like, all right, what's our new thing for Indiana Jones going to be? And the answer's aliens, which, like, is fine. I don't have, like, an objection to it being aliens. I just think the execution was poor.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it is not aliens. These are interdimensional beings.
Good point.
They didn't go to space. They went to the space between space.
That's right. Which is something a phrase that I keep seeing in one of the comics I'm reading this week. And I'm like...
You're reading the Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull comic?
That's right. No, I'm reading the whatever her name is. I don't know, Yvette Belankovich or whatever. The Kate Blanchett's character, her adventures in double space or whatever we're calling it.
Dr. Irina Spelko.
There you go. Yeah, it's a pretty cool comic. It's like that one comic where the billionaires go to space and all turn into like crazy monster. It's like Event Horizon, basically. I'd enjoy it, but yeah, I believe the story behind that. I'm not positive about this. Is Steven Spielberg, which just did not want it to be aliens, but was fine with the general concept. But
I don't know that it was Steven Spielberg. I think the screenwriter didn't want it to be aliens.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
I think David Kopp didn't want aliens.
Which I looked him up. When you described him, you definitely undersold him as...
You specifically asked me, what has he done since Crystal Skull? And that's what I gave you.
I guess that's fair. But yeah, this guy wrote, like, everything. He's written, like... And I mean, like, I'm sure he has some duds in there, too. But, like, Jurassic Park, Mission Impossible 1, Spider-Man 1. This guy's got some pretty sick... And then some other stuff. Like you were saying. Well, you gave me Angels and Demons. I guess you didn't do Premium Rush. I saw that movie.
I've never even heard of that movie.
It was like Joseph Gordon-Levitt's delivering stuff on a bike. You didn't say Kimmy, that fun movie where what's-her-name's in her house because of COVID, but not really. But, like, remember that?
I do remember that. I figured you guys wouldn't, so I didn't mention it.
I liked Kimmy. I don't know if I'd remember it by name, but this guy wrote The Shadow, the one where Alec Baldwin is, like... his character from 30 Rock, but seriously, and he's like a man who could say, like, in a deep voice, like, I'm the Shadow. We should do that one day. That's a real weird movie. But, yeah, I feel like everything in the end of this movie is wrong, but everything before they meet Marianne is pretty good. I think some of the Marianne stuff is okay. Like,
yeah, I don't think the movie becomes terrible halfway through. I just think it starts to fall apart.
I think the snake fit is cute. It's about as much of that as I can take. I'm sure it'll be in the new one, and I'd like to stop. But they
we get it. He doesn't like snakes. Like whatever, right?
Yeah. Like I can't remember. Was there a snake bit in the third one also? Been a while since I watched it.
I honestly don't know.
Can I be honest with you guys?
Yeah?
You've never seen Indiana Jones?
I've never seen the third one. I've seen Raiders and Temple of Doom, but I've never seen...
Oh, you miss Sean Connery.
Yeah, Sean.
God, what's the third one called?
The
Temple of Doom.
Last Crusade.
No, Last Crusade. Temple of Doom is the second one.
Yeah.
Last Crusade.
Last Crusade's pretty good. I think it's probably
supposed to be
the
last
best one. Yeah, this is supposed to be... Each one of these is supposed to be the last one. They love it when it's the last Indiana Jones movie.
I don't think Temple of Doom was.
No, that one was not. But yeah, every movie since Temple of Doom has been the final chapter. Hanging up the little hat and whip forever. Unless... Well, eventually he's gonna die, and then it will be the last one.
Are you sure? You sure about that? You sure about that?
I think they've got a good enough facial scan from this new one to make something happen. Does Harrison Ford have any kids that look just like him? I've never seen any.
That's a good question.
But
I mean, those are two different questions.
That's true. Yeah. Well, I feel like, or brothers, like when they got Paul Walker, and they're like, we don't really have Paul Walker, but this guy can do Paul Walker, and we'll use the computer to finish
Harrison
it up.
Ford has 5 children.
Wow, good for him.
Wow, is this an Al Pacino situation? One of them like a baby?
One of them is adopted.
I mean, like a baby now. Like, I don't know if you guys saw that thing where Al Pacino's having kids at like 80. It's insane.
God.
Oh, good for him.
I'm looking. No, his last child was his adopted child, who was born in 2001. So
okay.
Oh, so he's
nothing too bad.
Unless maybe he's not.
Yeah.
Well, he's married to Callista Flockhart now, who I don't believe is of an age where she could possibly bear a child.
That's true.
Well, maybe he'll, I don't know, legal mistress or something.
You never know. Yeah.
A lot of options.
I feel like
once you hit your 80s, you're too tired to have an affair anymore.
That's the thing.
Well, how old is Al Pacino?
It's just too much work.
He's so old. I don't know, but he keeps doing it. He keeps having kids. I feel like De Niro's the same way. I don't know. Maybe it's just these two guys, but they...
Well, are they...
Do
they, have young wives, maybe? Or is it actually just, random affair resulted in child?
I mean, they must be young-ish if they're...
Well, I'm saying, is it with their wives, or is it that they're, having sex with random people and having kids?
It's his girlfriend, and she does seem quite young compared to him. I mean, listen, whatever, it's
everyone's
fine.
Young compared to him. We're young compared to him.
They're young compared to him.
That's true.
Indiana Jones is young compared to him. As Al Pacino, who's older, Al Pacino or Harrison Ford?
I'm going to guess Al Pacino.
I actually have the answer right here if you want to guess, Nando.
Nah, I already looked it up too. Yeah, it is Al Pacino is older, which is...
Yep, by 3 years.
Yeah.
So Harrison Ford's a young buck.
Yeah, he's a spry 80.
Well, he has those earrings, You never tell he's an old man.
He's younger than the President of the United States, so...
That's true. Did, what else is interesting about this movie? I don't know. Is there anything about this movie that, I don't know. I feel like we've talked about all of it. Is there anything we've forgotten? We haven't talked about this.
Ahead, Nando.
Remember the fucking bit when the Legends of the Hidden Temple Guardians show up?
Those
guys are insane.
Yeah.
The first one, where they're little shadow men. That was so wild.
The craziest part about that to me is that Indy and Mutt are just well, yeah, those guys would be here. Whatever.
Right, yeah.
They don't care at all that random dudes are here trying to kill them.
Yep. They're just yeah, we got to get past 2, 3, 4 guys. I don't know, and then we'll be done. And
this might as well happen.
There might as well be a scene where Mutt's whoa, what was that? And he's yeah, every time you go to one of these places, there's some dick guy who's going to try to kill you. I don't know. I stopped asking questions about it years ago.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of... And that's kind of how these start a little bit. You get that first scene where Indiana Jones is doing the first temple, and you get the sense that Indiana Jones has already done a lot of temples, and he knows where all the stuff is, but he still never quite is able to anticipate the bunch of guys, because he always has to run away from them in a big huff. It is wild that, I guess, this is one of those movies where if nothing happened, everything would be pretty cool, right? If the Russians never showed up looking for the Crystal Skull, everything would be fine.
Yes.
Well, the movie would be fine, or everything would work out fine for the characters.
The world. I guess it's not like Temple of Doom, Or, like, I don't know. There's something weird about these movies where you finish the whole movie and it's like, oh, good, no one gets the thing anymore. Put it in a box, or it fell into the ravine or whatever. And it's like, we just destroyed a big culture thing. But nothing, I don't know. It feels
like how sometimes people describe Raiders as being a movie about a man who repeatedly fails to stop the Nazis until they kill themselves?
Yeah, kind of. I guess, like, I would see one of these working a little bit better in my head if the aliens in the like secret city were going to kill everybody. If we didn't put the crystal skull back or something, I'd have a little bit more sympathy for all those, or not a little bit more sympathy. I'd have a little bit more like, well, Indiana Jones had to do it. That's what his job is. But it's always some situation where, like, if the thing was just not touched, no one would touch it. No one would find it if Indiana Jones couldn't help him. And then it'd be fine. Like,
I mean, I guess in his defense, the Russians had kidnapped Marion and Ox by then.
That's true.
That's why he was doing it.
Yeah.
And then the skull talked to him in his brain and was like, I want to go back. And he was like, well, all right.
I don't think this was like a missed opportunity. I do kind of the fact that we had a big chase scene in the Hangar 51, and part of it wasn't Indiana Jones picking up the fucking staff of Olympus and electrocuting dudes with it from a box we've seen before. I kind of wish we got a little bit of that.
What was the thing that they tease, or they kind of like, they show he's like leaving the warehouse and he like breaks open a box.
Oh, yeah.
And there's like a chest inside.
It's
What
the
is
Ark
that?
of the Covenant from
Yeah,
the first
come
one.
on, TJ.
Like that big
Right,
golden...
but okay. Yeah, but why?
Because it's supposed to be there and wanted to show us. Like, yeah, just like
So that
Easter
you
egg.
could see the thing that you remember and clap.
Exactly, yeah. But I think
But it's
that would have
just a
been
little
pretty
Easter
cool
egg, so it's fine.
if Indiana Jones kicked the, Ark of the Covenant over and then it vaporized a bunch of guys. That would have been... I mean, it would have been stupid,
That would
but it would have been pretty
great.
funny. If, like... You know what? That would have been great. If that was the first, like, Indiana Jones got to the box and then, like, just did a little bit of work or something, so you could see he was, like, playing around with it. It was like, this is the box you guys want, and pulled it out, and then they opened it, and Kate Blanchett was like, I knew you would do Ark of the Covenant, so I didn't look, but... all the rest of the guys'
saw the
faces
first movie
melted.
or
Yeah.
read the report, story, whatever. Did people know that happened?
I mean, like, unless Indiana Jones told them, no one really finds out. No one survives besides him and Marianne. And it doesn't seem like Indiana Jones is telling people those stories, so, nah.
He just wants to be left alone.
He just wants to teach, you know?
Yeah. He just wants to teach Chapter 4 from Michelson, I think, is the thing he always says in these movies.
Yeah. And they never get it. They're always just... Kids just love Indiana Jones.
There's going to be a quiz on it.
I mean, I kind of... Yeah. We don't have any girls that are fawning over him, like in that one movie where she has it on her eyelids.
Yeah!
He's a little too old for that. But maybe like a secretary could be doing it. I don't know. It'd be pretty fun.
Or maybe the dean could be doing it. Like,
yeah.
Could be like, I have bad news for you, and he does all the, like, you're being put on leave. And then he's like, but I do have good news. And he closes his eyes, and it's on his eyelids.
I resigned. Yeah, and you're like, aw, Andy.
Oh my
That's
god.
how he gets messages. Was this movie woke? This came out in 2008, so could it even
No,
be
this movie
woke?
is not woke.
I mean,
Brown people are stupid.
Yeah,
Brown
it
people
really
are
gets in on
stupid.
that.
And also kind of evil, I guess. I don't know. They want to kill you for no clearly defined reason. And we're not very curious about it.
Yeah.
Also, women useless, right? That's another part of this.
Well, Marion
mean-
does some stuff. She does some
Yeah,
stuff in the
she's
movie.
okay in this. That's always her thing. Is like it's not as bad as the first one where they take her hostage and Indiana Jones almost gives the Nazis the Ark of the Covenant, and it's like, oh, if it wasn't for her, this would all be okay. But yeah, I don't know if this movie's woke. It's got some not great things to say about the CIA, FBI.
Okay.
Well, actually, I don't think it has anything to say with the CIA because it turns out Ray Winstone was just lying.
That's true. Yeah.
It has not great things to say about the FBI, but also it's the 50s FBI when McCarthyism was in full swing, so I feel like you're allowed to say, like, maybe they went a little overboard on the McCarthyism.
Yeah. It's weird. McCarthyism's cool, isn't it?
Yeah, we all love it.
Oh, we love it.
I like that we got more
it.
McCarthyism just recently, in Florida.
Just recently?
Florida McCarthyism. Yeah, like we're...
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Did you
we're-
see the thing that just happened?
Yeah, they rebooted McCarthyism.
Mm-hmm.
McCarthyism 2, Electric Boogaloo?
Yeah.
Yeah, Rick Scott put out a video saying, if you're a socialist or a communist, then don't come to Florida. We'll kill you.
Isn't that great?
Whoa. Wow.
I mean, he didn't say that last part, but that's the vibe.
Wow. He knows that, like, Florida's all retirees, right?
He knows that Florida's all tourism, right?
Yeah.
It is. And,
Well, tourism's all capitalism, so that's good. Oh, but like socialists don't spend money, Diggins.
it's true.
Yeah,
They don't believe in
I don't know. As Ray Winstone points out in this movie, what can I say, Indy? I'm a capitalist.
That's right.
I pay.
Wow, that is a really good Ray Winstone. That is, like, wow.
Yeah.
Ray Winstone in this movie, anyway.
Well, yeah.
That's right.
It is weird that, like, he gets thrown out of the trunk with Indy, and, like, they're trying to make it like we're best buds. Oh, Indy was on that script we had back in 49 where we were stuck, eh? And we're gonna get out of this one, eh?
Yeah. I mean, listen, that wasn't the worst one I've heard either. These are both okay.
I need to do your Ray Winstone.
I don't want to. I feel like it's bad. I always have trouble with these. I do. I will say
You can't make fun of us and then not do it.
I'm not making fun. I think they were both okay. I think they were like, I was going to say, I was like, oh, DJ, it sounds like Michael Caine's here. But honestly, by the end of it, I was like, no, that's kind of Ray Winstone. I could see it. I was going to say, I do think that character is completely unnecessary. Like, you could 100% write him out of the movie and nothing would change.
Yeah,
Definitely.
that's true.
And I get having him there, and obviously Ray Winstone was the Shia LaBeouf of old people, I guess, or something. Like, we had to put Ray Winstone and everything. But, probably not the place for him.
I love how in the finale, he does the double betrayal again, where he, like, pulls the gun on them and is like, sorry, Indy, I'm actually not a double agent at all. But then Kate Blanchett just shows up immediately after him anyway, so it was like, that was completely pointless.
Exactly. Everything that guy does, you're just like, we could cut this guy loose at any point. He's just here. Like, I wonder what it was in the script that, like, because he doesn't even serve, like, it's not like him and Indiana Jones go on adventures by themselves, and it's like you do want to have another person for Indiana Jones to talk to in this scene. Like, he doesn't serve any purpose.
Yeah.
I really, because even when you get to the camp, like the one in the middle, he's there a little bit to be like, Andy, you go do what these people say, whatever. But like by that point, we're just about to meet Marianne again, so she could just do it, whatever.
I think the idea is, like, as part of, like, the 50s setting where they're, especially in, like, media of the time, there was this whole sense of, like, spycraft, like, you don't know who you can trust.
Yeah.
Sort of thing going on, and I feel like he was put in there to capture that feeling, but because we never care about him, and it's never super clear what's going on with him, it doesn't work at all.
Yeah, I do think it would have worked if that guy was in, one of the other ones or something. But
or if his betrayal came at, like, at the end of Act 1, and we had all of Act 1 to, like, get to know him and like him, and then he betrays Indy.
Yes, that's right. I think, like, you get away with one of those, and it has to be later in the movie, and then it serves its purpose.
Who could they have gotten? Could they have gotten anyone from the original movies to serve that role?
I mean, Sean
Johnny
Connery.
Davies.
Have him be bad again, and have him secretly be a CIA agent the whole time. You silly little boy, you didn't know. It's always a CIA agent. Listen, John Rhys Davies was still alive then. Sean Connery was still alive then. Obviously, Marianne, that would have been an insane twist. I feel like most of the characters in these die. Short Round could have been a CIA op, like a little 20-year-old G-man.
Oh man, do you think they, after Everything Everywhere All at Once blew up, do you think they worked in a little cameo for him in Dial of Destiny?
Yeah, I mean, if they did, my eyes are gonna melt like that one guy when he looks at the Ark of the Covenant. And like, I like that they're friends and hug on red carpets and stuff. I'm very happy for both of them. But like, man, I've heard that Short Round pitch for so long that I don't want to see it. There's something just unsettling about it. But I do think we'll get it eventually. And it'll be a Disney Plus show that they immediately, pull when they're finished with it.
Well, he's like also not young anymore. That was like 40 years ago. He's in his 50s now, I think.
Yeah, like if we were doing Short Round Origins, like the pitch was always, what's his name? Like, Stephen Yeun or someone who could do it set in the 70s, or not even 70s. That would also probably be in the 50s because that one's a prequel. But Yeah, you could do it like this one seems to be doing, where you do flashbacks between old Short Round and young Short Round, and you keep both of them on. I don't know. But I don't love the idea. It just, there's something about it that feels so manufactured, but he probably will show up in this, actually. I haven't really... He's the only other character that could, besides Marianne and Shia, because everyone else is dead. But...
There's no way Shia LaBeouf shows up. I just feel like
there's absolutely no way. He's not in the movie.
I'm not convinced. Like, I'm not saying...
Okay,
I think
maybe there's
is.
like a picture of him on his office, on like his desk, like there was with Sean Connery and the old Dean in this one. But there's no way Shia is physically in the movie.
I think you're right, but also...
But what if, Diggins?
I could see it. I could see him showing up at the very last minute in a helicopter or something, saving them, and then...
He has to do the thing where he goes, Indy, just do it!
Yeah.
Just do it!
Like muttering like he always did in those goddamn Transformers movies. And
or he says no really fast a lot.
Yeah, that's what it was.
No.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. Yeah, do you wish this was the last one?
Dial of Destiny or Crystal Skull?
Crystal Skull, but Dial of Destiny too, I guess, because it probably won't be.
It depends on if Dial of Destiny is good or not. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's. I mean, with no other information, yes, I would have liked it to be the last one, I think.
Well, I didn't feel like I needed more, if that's the question.
Yeah, that's kind of it. It's one of those things where, like, if this movie was good, it would be the last one. But it feels like kind of like the, quarterback who thinks he's going to win the Super Bowl and retire, who doesn't get to the Super Bowl that year, and you're like, I guess we got to not retire this year. Like,
oh, Tom Brady?
Yeah, it's happened a couple times, but Tom Brady is notorious for it. And, like, I feel like...
but Tom Brady is the best at it because he threw away his entire family to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think if Crystal Skull had hit, I think this might have been his last movie. Although then it's like, well, would that have kickstarted another franchise of, Mutt Williams, and that would have had Indiana Jones in it a little, I don't know, wild. Anything else about this movie?
Wild stuff. Nah.
All right.
I can't believe that they didn't get Dan Aykroyd to show up and sell his tequila or whatever the hell it is.
Yes, it's true. Vodka. Yeah. But yes, the Crystal Skull vodka is that. And it's weird because it's just a regular skull. It's not an elongated skull. But, and I don't think it was a thing by then. But man, missed opportunity for some sort of cross promotion. I would have bought the Crystal Skull artifact-shaped bottle of Crystal Skull vodka. It would cost like $200. I wouldn't have bought it, but it would have been cool to have.
Do you think
I found one on the street?
It was like in that new Ghostbusters movie, they called Dan Aykroyd, and they was like, "Hey, Dan Aykroyd, do you remember Indiana Jones?" And he's like, "Indiana Jones can go to hell." And they're like, "Well, I guess we're not going to be able to put the vodka in the movie, guys."
Oh my God, he missed out. He's got to stop answering phones like that. What a curmudgeon. All right, you guys want to get to our classic segment?
Yeah, let's do it.
I would love that.
Real quick, before that, I don't know if you guys saw on Twitter, they cast a Superman and a Lois Lane.
Oh, they did?
They did.
Made the official announcement, or it's a rumor?
No, it's official. It's David Corenswet and Rachel Brosnahan. So Marvelous Miss Maisel and the guy from A Teeny Bit of Pearl, and The Hollywood Show and stuff.
Is he American or is he British?
He's American.
Yes! We got it back.
We did get one back.
We did it. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Yeah, you know what? And I think he was the only American in those two, because the other one I think was from Downton Abbey, so he probably wasn't. And then the other one was Nicholas Hoult, who's British. So out of the three possible Supermans, we got an American one. I'm pretty sure. I'm 90% sure I've seen an interview with him, because I researched him for a video, and like, yeah. He's American.
Are these the ones you predicted?
Everybody knew he was in the running, and I talked about him in my video. I think he's just kind of like Henry Cavill again, but younger. I feel like there was another guy who felt a little different, and I kind of liked him more. But I think David Corenswet is fine. I have a strong dislike for Rachel Brosnahan just because I hate that Miss Maisel show. Just because I hate watching people do stand up as a show. It makes me so uncomfortable. I don't know why. You know what I mean, though? It's like you're watching it.
Makes you think of Joker.
It makes you think of Joker. It makes you think of that movie Funny People. Like, and even the Funny People movie, they actually did stand up and then filmed it, so it wasn't as bad. But this, when it's like written stand up and the audience is laughing at it more than I am, I feel so weird in watching it as a show, you know?
You mean that Hacks show that I watched season 1 of that everyone said was amazing? And I was like, this is fine.
Yeah. I think Rachel Brosnahan is fine. I mean, I loved her in fucking Quibi Show. She was great as Golden Arm.
That's true.
I hope she saves her kryptonite arm. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think Lois Lane will have a golden arm?
That's what I say. I think it'll be a kryptonite arm that Lex Luthor will, switch out to, kill Superman. But yeah, David Cornswood, I just checked, is British. Rachel Brosnahan, I don't know. It seems like we had a couple
we didn't get him?
Oh, no. Sorry, not British. He's American.
Okay.
Yeah. It seems like we had a couple of other women that were in the running that I think would have been a little bit more interesting than Rachel Brosnahan in terms of just like Rachel Brosnahan just feels like the obvious pick here. It's kind of like David Cornsweet where it's like, I don't think Nicholas Hoult would have been a better Superman, but I kind of want to see that movie where like Emma Mackey, I don't think she'd be a more accurate Lois Lane because Rachel Brosnahan really does seem like the character from Hudsucker Proxy just again. So it's like, it's Lois Lane, but it's a little bit like, I kind of want more of a take on it, but I understand them just wanting to pick the ones that are the ones it's supposed to be, as opposed to like Amy Adams and Jesse Eisenberg. So, it's fine. Honestly, like, the Luthor is more interesting, but it seems like it might be Alexander Skarsgård now from Succession, and I'm not thrilled about that. I'm sure he'll be good, but it's another really obvious pick.
I mean, it's going to be really hard to live up to Jesse Eisenberg.
I know. All of them have been bad. Well, no, that's not true. The ones on TV are good, and Kevin Spacey, I think, is a pretty good Lex Luthor. But
well, it helps to hire a real evil person.
Exactly. You got to be bald and evil, and you got it down. And but yeah, apparently that's our guys. So cool. Do you want to get to our classic segment now, DJ? Do you have anything to recommend to the fine people?
Yeah, let's do it. So I got one thing to recommend. It's a game that came out and fucking rocks. It's Final Fantasy 16. I love it so much. Okay, so why do I love it? Why do I love this video game? What's so good about this? So I, in general, have an affinity toward the Final Fantasy games. I like those like action RPGs, JRPGs, or action adventure JRPGs, really. What's so good about this one? The story is fucking savage. I don't know if you've seen some of the comparisons, but it's like, ooh, it's kind of like Game of Thrones. And I think that's a little too on the nose because it's in a medieval setting and it's like very savage. And it's about someone who was a part of a royal house that got betrayed and then was cast to the dregs of society. It's like a little too on the nose. But it is like a really good, like interesting, compelling, gritty story. The combat's amazing. It's real-time combat, very fluid, a lot of different options with the way they kind of built in the different abilities, I'll say, in terms of like not strictly like casting the traditional magical spells, but giving you kind of like augments to like sword-based action combat. I think this is a masterfully. The soundtrack's great. It's really good. It's like one of my. It's easily the best Final Fantasy game since 10, and it's probably better than that, and it might be the best Final Fantasy game in like no joke, like 20 years. It's so good. I think it's that legit good.
Wow.
Well, core Final Fantasy game, not counting like Final Fantasy VII Remake or any of that stuff. Like that, I think it's in like a different category. But it's really good. It's like really set the bar, I think. And also, like, I don't know, it's rated M, so there's like the full amount of like fucks and like I don't want to say like sex scenes, but some like raunchy stuff in there. And it's like, yeah, good. Make a game for adults. Make a goddamn video game for goddamn adults. I appreciate that, Square Enix.
So what we're hearing here is that DJ hates Legend of Zelda as a series so much that he skipped right over the new one to play Final Fantasy instead.
And arguably the best one, right?
Right.
It's very
well,
it's incredible.
And not only that, what did I recommend since it came out? I recommended this, Diablo 4, and the Jedi Survivor game. So, like, I am, like, I'll get to Zelda one day, never, but,
DJ, can you speak on why you hate Legend of Zelda so much?
I do. If like, 13-year-old DJ would jump in a time machine, he would do Flashpoint to the future and beat the shit out of me for my lack of not playing Zelda yet. Zelda's, like, one of my favorite franchises. Like, I'm ashamed of myself.
You should be.
But I have to live with my choices. So be it.
All right. Well, do you think they're going to show up in Kingdom Hearts? Could they say fuck to Goofy?
Will one of them kiss Donald?
So the main character is Clive, and I could see him being used again by Square Enix because they love to do this. I will say, this game makes Final Fantasy 15 look like a joke. Like, this game makes 15 look like hot garbage. But I did not like 15.
But you were on a road trip with your boys.
Yes, you are on a road trip with your boys.
That was the thing. It was Entourage, right? With swords or something?
Weirdly, kind of. This makes that game look like dog shit. I did not like 15 though, so I might be the wrong person. But I think 16 fucking slaps. I think it's great.
Incredible.
Well, if only I had a PS5.
I'm really rizzing it up right now. I think that's the. I'm rizzing it up.
Call DJ Livy and call Final Fantasy 15 Baby Gronk.
16.
Sorry, excuse me.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that reference is going to be dated. I mean, it's already dated. It's going to be even worse dated by the time this comes out.
Yeah. Diggins, do you have anything to recommend?
Yeah, I watched a couple movies that I really liked. I'll go over them real quick. One is the old David Cronenberg movie, Dead Ringers.
I've never seen that. Is that cool?
It's really cool. It's about a pair of identical twins, both played by Jeremy Irons, who are gynecologists, and they have a habit of, like, one of them is a lot more socially awkward than the other one. So, like, the non-awkward one will seduce women and then let his younger brother, his younger, in the way identical twins are younger and older by like seconds.
Right.
Wait. Let the other.
This is the one that just came out too, right?
No. They recently adapted this movie into a mini-series starring Rachel Weisz.
Right. I remember seeing trailers for that. Yeah.
So that's actually why I watched this movie. I want to watch that miniseries. I haven't done that yet, so I'm not wrecking it. But I watched the movie that it's based on. It's very good. Jeremy Irons, gynecologist. The younger brother then goes on dates with the women and sleeps with them also. Because they're identical and people can't tell the difference. But with one of the women in this movie, the younger brother kind of becomes obsessed with her. And it just is like this huge spiral down as like their lives kind of fall apart and they'll start losing their minds. It's really interesting as like a character study thing because it's so like the characters like reflect off of each other in interesting ways where like the thing that will happen to one will cause the other one to start acting in a different way. And like it's this like infinite feedback that just sort of ruins both of their lives. And it's really, really fascinating. As far as David Cronenberg movies go, also, there's only one scene of like horrific body horror, and the rest of it's just psychological. So it's basically the opposite of The Fly.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a really great movie. If you like Cronenberg stuff, if you like psychological horror, that sort of stuff, I think that's super worth watching. I also watched a new movie recently called Past Lives.
I hear that's the new hotness.
Yeah, so this is a new indie movie starring Greta Lee, who I most know as the friend in Russian Doll.
Oh, cool.
Very different role, but yes. So Past Lives is about these two people. They were both born in Seoul in South Korea, and they like grew up together until they were about 12. They were like really close friends. They kind of had crushes on each other in the way that little kids do. But then the girl's family moves to America, and they like never see each other again or talk again for the next 12 years, where they happen to reconnect and like start talking all the time. Like the boy still lives in Seoul, so they're like talking through Skype because it's 12 years ago. And like have this super strong connection, but then they both decide to step away from it because neither of them can like leave where they are because of other commitments. And then another 12 years later, the guy comes to visit in New York, but she's married by then. And so it's all about this sort of idea of like misconnections and, sort of that longing for how things could have been different. It's a romance movie. But I just think the way they do it is both so powerful and also like, I don't know, it's not like melodramatic, really. It's all very realistic in a way that I liked, where it didn't feel like contrived or, over the top. It felt very lived in. It felt very real in a way that I really liked. So that is, it's already been out a couple weeks, I think, and it's an indie movie, so it didn't hit a lot of theaters in the first place, so you might have a little trouble finding it, but if you can, I would definitely check it out. It's super great. What about you, Nando? Do you have anything to recommend?
You know, I watched a couple things on TV this week. Hannah and I are going through the new season of The Bear. Very much enjoy it. I've always liked The Bear. It's one of those shows. It's not a cozy show, not at all. But it brings me back to working in a kitchen. So that if you've ever worked in any food service, and not like you don't have to be a cook, but it's interesting to see that. And this season has the one episode that everyone's talking about. That is the one episode, and we just watched that, and it is great. Everybody in it is going to get Oscar or Emmys, or they're, I don't want to say it, but people that know
the
what I'm talking about.
The episode with the 5 kilo tub of mayo.
That's right. It's, I think they're going to add the best stunt category for the Emmys. And I think, Abby Elliott's a lock for picking up the whole mayo and just throwing it into the Hudson River. Which is weird because they film that in Chicago, but she throws it really far.
I thought the show was in Chicago.
It is. That's how good it is. They throw it in there. They would throw it in their disgusting river, but it's solid. You can't throw things into it. You have to throw things on the Chicago River. I don't know. The river's fine. It's the one they do for St. Patrick's Day, right? Which is always insane to me. They put green in it. Just turn the whole river a different color. So watching that, watching New Sunnies. I love Always Sunny. That show is so funny. I also listen to the podcast now because they have a podcast where they talk about old episodes, but it's not like those Office ones or like the Twilight one where it's like, this show is done, but we want to keep talking about it. This is like currently going, and it's mostly just them kind of talking about how they write episodes, and they'll have the writers on, they'll have some of the stars on. I didn't know. Are you guys familiar with Sunny enough to kind of remember episodes?
Yeah, I think I could get by, at least if they're like more iconic episodes.
Do you remember the Dennis system?
Yeah, oh my god, of course.
Did you know?
Because my name is Dennis.
That's right,
so,
yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Did you know Dennis is married to the girl from the Dennis system that he is Dennising in real life?
I did not know that.
I didn't either.
Because
all the rest of them are married to the people from the show, and it's like those, that's like the meme of it, but I always just assumed he was married to someone else, not the show, but, and it seems like they were together when they were filming it. I think they say, because that was just the episode they podcasted on, I think they were just about to get married or engaged. I can't remember. But anyway, these interesting stories, they're very funny. They're clearly like three very smart people, but they're also kind of weird in their own ways. Dennis is really into supplements and stuff in real life, and like they all give him shit for that on the show, so that's very entertaining. Watch this. I started watching that show, that Apple show, the one that feels like it came out 10 years ago. What the heck is it called?
Silo?
No. What is it? I don't remember. It's the Seth Rogen is in it.
Okay.
It's like him and Rose Byrne, and it's like, what if adults said fuck and we're drinking? Platonic, yeah. I don't dislike it. I think it's probably good, but it just feels so much like a thing, Like, it's so weird that it's like, they still make these? I thought we were done with these, but it's like, nope, they still made one. But it's not bad, it's very interesting. Besides that, like, I don't think I've been playing any new games, reading any new books. I mean, I've been reading, like, lots of Authority. I'm mostly I'm mostly finished it. I think it's very good. I think there's definitely really good stuff there. There's a lot of it that's weird and bad. The cool thing about Authority, it's part of the Wildstorm universe. They're going to make a movie about it, obviously. Some of those characters are going to be in the Superman movie, almost certainly. It's crazy that because the Wildstorm universe was its own thing for a while, they did just have an event where everybody on Earth died pretty much. And it wasn't like the Marvel comics or DC comics where they would kind of get rid of that within like a week. And it's like, no, that's fine. Don't worry. We're going to keep doing Spider-Man. They just went, no, a bunch of them died and the whole planet exploded. Whoops. And then they kind of went from there. So that part of it is interesting. It's the kind of thing you can only do with like its own universe. So I wouldn't say I recommend that because it's definitely not for everybody, but it's something. Speaking of things that are something, next week we got something to talk about. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Oh, whoa, baby.
Cool. I mean, listen, we'll see. I haven't seen it yet, so we'll find out. You guys, do you have anything to plug, DJ?
Roses and Rejections. We just started covering the new season of The Bachelorette, and we're not excited.
Yeah.
I've seen your memes, and that's all the only like kind of exposure I've gotten to this.
Yeah. It's not good, man. It's like, also they moved it back from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, which I think is like a mortal sin that they should never be able to recover from. Found that very upsetting, but whatever, man. We're covering it amongst other things, so stay tuned.
Nice. Diggins, you have anything to plug?
Just the Indiegogo campaign for Ballads of the Distant Reaches is still ongoing. If you want to support their the fiction writing that they support, that they put out in the world, and also me getting some money, you should definitely go check that out on Indiegogo.com. Look up Ballads of the Distant Reaches. What about you, Nando?
I just have videos that are coming out. One will be out very soon, probably before this podcast goes out. Well, I don't know about that. It's my fan casting the Authority Part 1 video, so that is on Nebula now. It's going to go on YouTube. It is the first 4 members of this team, so you'll see it and you'll go, oh, those guys. And then the video after that is fan casting the Authority Part 2, which is the other 3 members plus 1 who I think is going to be on that team also, even though he is not usually on the Authority, although he did kind of get into a version that they made recently. That will go on Nebula when the other one goes on YouTube. So in a couple of days. Besides that, I don't have any other videos that are going to be releasing soon. Although that's not true. I did a Secret Invasion episode 1 just talking about that. And I'm going to keep doing those weekly on the Nando Cut. Just like little, there probably won't be too much to talk about. The first episode had more meat on it, but I do have those. So that is something to talk about. I'd wreck it, but I'll wait until it's done. Until next week, I'm at Nando V Movies on Twitter.
I'm at Zippy by Day.
I'm at This Is an Odd Name.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. Woo!
Woo!
Bye. We love you.